And I'm like, what's up, buddy? And he was like, buddy, is it crazy if I ask for a picture? I go, absolutely not. Please, let's get a picture. And he's like, can you take your shirt off? And I was like, I'm not going to take my shirt off. He goes, okay. And he goes, Mom, get a picture. His mom, like, looks at me and she's like, who is he? And I go, I'm a male porn star. And she went, what? And I said, yeah, you should get to know your son. He's really into porn. And I go, I'm one of the biggest.
You should get to know your son.
Kid in the fucking perfect delivery I've ever heard. He goes, real fucking cool, dude. The Permission to Party World Tour kicks off September 18th in Rockford, Illinois, the 19th in Milwaukee, the 20th in St. Paul, Minnesota, the 21st in Duluth, Minnesota, followed by Eugene, Oregon, September 28th. Avoid scalpers and go to Bert.com to get your lowest ticket price.
And you're like the fucking dude in Boogie Nights. You're like, I want to fuck now, man.
I want to fuck now. I'm ready to fuck Jack. Dirk's king of Dirk. Dirk's king of Dirk. I'm ready to fuck Jack. I got the big dick. Who am I fucking? Let's go, Jack.
I never thought I'd see anyone go fucking Dirk.
Oh, buddy, I did that at a Burger King drive-thru in Tampa one time.
The monologue?
That exact monologue. Simple arithmetic. A plus B. What the fuck, man? It's rock music.
Over a sandwich you were waiting
over a fucking Big Mac that I was waiting on. I go, is it close? And she's like, it's close. I go, I'm ready to eat now. Dude, Bert's the king of Bert. She was like, huh? I go, I got the big dick. Who am I fucking, Jack? She was like, huh? And I go, it's simple arithmetic. Dude, have you heard the tapes? The guy's name is Bert in that scene. Bert, have you heard the tapes?
Oh my God.
I was obsessed with that movie.
Yeah.
That movie and Fight Club are two movies. But to answer your question, people would say at a certain time to me, they're like,
hold it.
No, we're in.
Hold it.
Are we
We're
in?
not in yet.
We're in.
Are we?
They would say, are you really married? As if I would go as far to make up being married.
This is a concept that's new to me. This is stemming from this conversation about authenticity we were just having 12 seconds ago. But the question that first hit the floor was, is it important to be authentic in a script? Was that right?
Yes.
My point to Bert was, yes and no. The germ of authenticity, that was the thing. I was like, authenticity is good, but there was another word you used that you were like, do you have to be, was it authentic? Did you say honest? I forget. But point being, I said, look, I made Clerks and I worked at a convenience store, but all the events in that movie never happened, not even over the course of my life. Like, it just made it, that's a movie.
Yeah.
But when you see that movie, people are like, I know that motherfucker worked in a convenience store. Like, he had a shitty job. So hence the authenticity. If there's a germ or the nucleus has authenticity to it, such as in a case of if you were writing a script based on something that you went through in your own personal life, which is to some degree, the machine Flick is based on you telling a story, which is based on you living a thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's down the meta hole. But there was authenticity at the root of it, and then a bunch of entertaining ways to tell a fucking story built all around it. So much so that it went from a routine to like literally there's a fucking transactional movie one could buy for all time immemorial, even after you're fucking dead, where they could be like, oh my God, that's one of my favorite movies and shit. So the authenticity at the root of it is a strong enough spine to let you put entertaining things on top of it, because life's not entertaining.
Yeah.
Life can be authentic, but very rarely is it entertaining, although your misadventures would probably prove otherwise. You're the outlier that, you know, the exception that proves the rule in that instance. Now, to take it back to after that, I said to Bert, I was like, does that matter in comedy? I said, has anyone ever asked you, like, did that really happen?
All the time.
And he, without hesitation.
Yes.
He was like, and that blew my mind, because in 31 years of storytelling, which I, still have very hard time ever identifying myself as a comedian, because I think of comedians as one thing. Like somebody who got there on their own, I started with a minute and I built it to 3, 5, 15, 20, like I come from a place. So I backdoored into it by virtue of the fact that I made movies. Because of the Q&As that follow movies, they push you out on stage. and say, go answer for your fucking self. And so I couldn't stand up there, wax erudite about filmmaking. I'd only ever done it once. But what I could do is what I'd watch George Carlin do my entire fucking life. You put a mic in somebody's hand, you better be as entertaining as possible. Try to be fucking funny.
Yeah.
So I would be like, let me tell you how we got the cat to shit on cue. So I came to comedy through a back door, and I was just telling somebody else this, a comedy podcast, I guess maybe Daily Beast, I don't know. But for years, like I sold out Carnegie Hall and I would still not consider myself a comedian, and I would never do a comedy club because I was like, I'm not a comic. I get up on stage and I fucking tell stories and blah, blah, blah. And I think it was Ralphie May who was just like, one day I was talking to him and I said the same thing. I was like, I feel uncomfortable going to comedy clubs, man, because like comedy club audience is there for a comedian and shit. And like when I do a show, they're just showing up for me. And he goes, Kevin, it doesn't matter if it's your audience that shows up or a random audience. Like if you're in a comedy club and people are there to laugh, that's a comedy club audience. He goes, stop being silly. You're a comedian. And shit. So it had never, over 31 years, like, and I've been telling stories like the John Peters story about fucking getting Superman written back in the day, or stories about Dogma. Like, you know, I've been on tour for the last month, 20 dates with Dogma 2 nights a week, and then doing 2 hours of Q&A after each screening. And people are like, oh my God, that sounds tiring. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm just pulling out material that I was doing back in 1999. Like, I don't have to generate something new.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're only going to ask me Dogma questions. So guess what? I've got fucking years of Dogma stories, 25, 26 years of them. So for me, like I've never had somebody go, is that story about Alan Rickman true? It's like, well, of course, A, of course it is, yeah. But B, it's probably more entertaining in my telling than it was in real life. And I'm not saying that's my gift, but I mean, that's what I bring to the fucking table.
It's so interesting you say that, because I had a story about Tracey Morgan. It's a great story.
And were people like, is that true?
Everyone said that, and it was true. It was true.
I mean, especially with Tracey Morgan, I would believe almost any story.
But then Tracey said it wasn't. Tracey didn't remember the night. And I was like...
So he said publicly in a way that made you look like a fuck or something?
Yeah, kind of. And I was like, oh, it's okay. I mean, it's like, well, I don't think he'd heard bits of the story. I don't think anyone ever told him the story. I think someone was like, yo, did you smoke PCP with Bert Kreischer? That's how they'd say it. And he'd be like, no, I've never done PCP in my life. Now, the story in essence is me and him not smoking PCP.
Right.
As a matter of fact, spoiler alert, I flew out to New York 3 weeks ago to meet with Tracey.
For a show?
About this story.
Because you told it on a podcast or something?
I got a call. I got a FaceTime from Tracey. I'm being political just to like, I got a FaceTime from Tracey one morning. And I was going to tell that story on a show. Someone had asked me to tell it on a show. I said I wasn't going to because it was problematic in Tracey. And then someone who knew us both said, I know it's a true story. There were other people that were there that night.
Right.
And he goes, I know it's a true story. You should tell it to Tracey.
Okay.
Tracey called me and he said, why don't you come out to New York? And we'll sit down. I'd love to hear the story. So I went out. I sat with Tracey. I told him the story. What's funny is his recollection of the night is funnier than my recollection of the night. And what's even funnier is the part where I hit his joint and I said, what's wrong with your weed? And he said, oh, you never smoked Sharon before? You never smoked PCP? Angel dust. I never had a blunt before. I grew up no one smoked blunts where I grew up. And I remember looking at his joint in Florida. No, we smoked out of bowls.
Now they define the blunt.
Yes.
But back then.
We smoked bowls and bongs and maybe you smoked a joint, right? But no one smoked a blunt. And when I said it to Tracey, he goes, no, it was a blunt. And I went, that's why I didn't understand the taste of it. That's why I coughed so hard. That's why I said, what the fuck's wrong with your weed?
But that's what he said recently?
The other day. He just said, when I said to him, I said, you pulled out a joint? He goes, I pulled out a blunt. And I went, that was the first blunt I ever had. And then it made sense. I was like, no wonder I didn't understand the taste of it. No wonder. And then he said it was PCP fucking with me because I made a comment about his weed.
So you're both right.
Yeah. So we're both right.
And you're telling the story because nobody ever disabused you of the notion that it wasn't PCP. So as far as you knew.
I went to Tony Woods and Tony Woods says, it's not PCP. He's fucking with you. But
that night.
Yeah, that night he goes, don't go home because you're going to believe you're on PCP because you're a white kid.
Was this all? That's hysterical.
Yeah.
Was that all part of the story?
It's all part of the story. Yeah.
So when you sat down with Tracey to tell him the story, was he like, "You have my blessing, go tell that story"?
As a matter of fact, those were his exact words. And I said, "Thank you, but I would really like to tell it with you on stage one time. I want to tell it with you."
That's adorable.
And Tracey was like, "Okay." And then I think, and very wisely, Tracey, like right when it was about to happen, Tracey backed out and he was like, "Man, I think we should work it together." Like he was like, I don't know where I'll come in on this story. I don't know what. And it was like, and he was pretty accurate. And I was like, "Hey man, if you have any hesitation, I'm out. Don't worry about it. I'm not going to do it without you." And but what's crazy is like that the believability is so. Like I had a story one time about sitting next to a black guy at an airport bar, or something similar to that. And he goes, "Hey man, she can suck my cock," or whatever. And then later after the show, this black guy comes up to me, goes, "I know that story's made up." I said, "What?" He goes, "The black guy didn't say that." And he goes, "I don't know what he said. And I don't know if he said anything, but I can tell you, he didn't say, I hope she sucks my cock." I said, "Why do you say that?" And he goes, "Black guys don't say, 'suck my cock.' That's what you guys say." And he goes, "You are putting a voice into a black man that didn't say that." And he was so right. I just needed the black guy to say something. I needed him to say something to me to start the conversation. And I just gave him that.
Right.
And then the conversation was authentic, but that part wasn't.
So was it the term of art? Like if you had gone "suck my dick," it would have been more believable?
Man, what did he say? "Man, I hope she gives me head," or something. And it was just the believability to keep the black man into the story.
This is why you'll never pass.
Yeah.
For black.
No shit.
Yeah. I know that's been your dream, but it's not. Buddy, you're not. It's not working right here, and I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt. So
Tom Segura and I, this is the best decision we never followed through with.
I'll let you go, please. But I'm just throwing real quick that your story called to mind a recent incident where I'm wearing Hoka's right now.
Yeah.
You've worn this sneaker?
No.
Comfortable fucking sneaker.
Every
I'm not a brand whore, but my God, I wore
Yeah.
Vans most of my fucking professional life.
Oh my God.
No, I got no arch left.
Yeah.
These fucking Hoka's, they changed my life, right? So I'm not like, I got no skin in the game. They're just a comfortable sneaker. Plus, they give you about, 6 inches of lift, so I'm taller than them and shit. So nice. I love these Hoka's. I was doing screenings, doing Q&As on the road. Anybody gets up, ask a question. One person got up and asked, like, "Are you wearing white guy sneakers?" And I was like, "I'm sorry?" And apparently the Hoka's are white guy sneakers.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
They're also fat guy sneakers.
Are they serious?
Oh, 100%.
That I'm oddly more okay with, where I'm like, well, I flag the flag. I don't consider myself thin, and I never will. But like I used to be much girthier, so if you tell me this is the fat guy sneaker of choice, then I'm like, well, I'm there for it. Because in my heart of hearts, I'll always be.
Have you done Are You Garbage?
The podcast?
Yeah.
I think I have. That sounds familiar.
Yeah,
dudes in a fake basement.
Yeah.
And they're very Jersey?
Yeah, I'm sure you have.
I'm pretty sure I have.
They're very Jersey. Yeah, you have.
There it is.
They introduced me to Hoka's.
They were the ones that talked about
I was with them
Hoka's.
on the road. I took them on the road, and Foley's like, "I got to get a new pair of fucking Hoka's." I said, "What?" And he goes, "I've blown mine out. They're too fucking, I need new ones."
I feel so seen. I've said this. I've had this exact conversation on the road. I just didn't have it with you. I'll tell you right now, though, if one day you're telling a story about how we had this conversation, you never have to fly out to me and get permission to tell the story.
Yeah,
I
appreciate it.
It blew my mind, though, that anybody's ever, there's only been, as you were talking, I was like, you know what, fairly recently, I was doing a show, I think New Year's Eve. Like, I don't party and shit, so New Year's Eve to me is like, I could fucking sell a gig. And so I wound up going to Spokane, Washington. What was the gig out there? Comedy?
Spokane Comedy Club.
Spokane Comedy Club. And I've been there before, like years ago. Wonderful people and stuff. But I told the story in the beginning, like opening night, that did happen, and then told it again second night, but presented it as two night because it's not as good as like, so last night.
Yeah.
And someone in the audience, like just as it was breaking, as the joke was like, cascading. Guy goes, that didn't happen. And I was like, it did. Maybe not tonight, but that did happen. Like I was kind of caught off guard. I'm like, what is that for fucking question?
Yeah.
Like the validity or the I guess the truth of the story. That's weird to me. The notion that somebody's been like, is that true?
Oh, my whole career, like especially the Machine story, that was the number one. The number one was like, there's no way that happened. And I was like,
I mean, maybe that, but still even that, it's like, it sounds so specific. Like that couldn't be a bit.
It's,
now there's an entertaining way to tell the story. There's probably a way for you to tell that story in court as speciously as possible.
Yeah.
That is not funny and won't end up as a movie.
Oh, you can end. That's the thing with comedy is, like I always say, there's parts of the machine that are withheld. Yeah. To raise the stakes.
Right.
Like right. And I go and I think you're as an artist you get those opportunities to withhold information.
100%.
And I think it makes it more of
license.
Yeah, and the same thing with
it's the same fucking real life. Literally, you're telling a story.
Yeah,
which happens to be true, but you're still telling a story. Look, there's only two positions in this life. There's the storyteller and there's the story. That's it. Yeah. You're one of the fucking two and shit. So it's, your story and you get to be the storyteller.
And there is an art to telling a story, meaning I have a really great story. I have a really amazing story when I tell it. If my wife tells it, it's not that interesting.
Right.
I've
heard Jason Mewes in the last few years, who's the guy I stand next to professionally and personally for the last over 30 years. Jay to my Silent Bob. We, from 2007 on, we were doing Jay and Silent Bob Get Old, the podcast. We took it out on the road and shit like that. And so at a certain point I got busy and his wife, Jordan, who runs our company, was like, that's no excuse. You got to get back out on the road to Jason, and sent him out by himself. And he's like, I'm not a fucking comedian. And she's like, you're funny. You know how to be funny in front of people just because Kevin's not there. And so over the course of the last few years, Jason has learned to be a stand-up.
Like, I knew he did the road.
He's been hitting the road.
He's worked with some of my friends.
And honestly, for the general audience, I'm sure they're like, well, of course. But in our world, it's fucking huge. Like when he shares a bill with Bobby Lee, we're all like, because I know how he feels too. Because he too, just like me, is like, I never had designs on this. This is just something that happened off of a thing that even in his case was something he didn't plan for either, the acting thing. He wasn't like, this is what I want to be. I was like, just be in this fucking movie. So he's living in somebody else's dream and he's made it work for himself for fucking years and whatnot. But then his wife was just like, you can fucking do this. So he has been going out and figuring out like how to be a raconteur himself. And it's rewarding for you to be like, oh, he's been with some of my friends.
Oh, yeah.
That's information I'll take back to him. He'll be like, oh, that's cool. But Jordan should be like, it's working. He's been her project for the last few years in terms of like, he can't just wait around for you to do things. Like he's very funny and he knows how to be funny. He's just not allowed to be shy. So now he's a working fucking road comic at this point. Like so much so that I was down in Florida.
Probably more than me actually right now. Keep going.
From your lips to God's ears. Something tells me you might be making more though. Down in Florida, Mike Calta. So I went and did Mike Calta's show and because I was down in Florida, but we were already sold out. So I just went for the fuck of it. He now broadcasts out of his fucking house, like dream job that is. So while I was there, God, what was the Muse connection? It was real good. Oh, Keckner rolled up.
So I saw this. I saw
for the last half hour of the show. And I've gone like this with Keckner, but the weird thing is I told him on the show, I was like, so fucking weird. I had just read a news report or heard a news report where they showed like a White House staff meeting and they're all like, oh, fucking Mr. President, you're so big and strong and shit. And it reminded me of the Fops from SNL, which Keckner was one of the characters where they're like, your lordship, yes. Like sound just like that. So he was on my mind. So when I was out, my calls, they're like, oh, Keckner's coming in. I was like, that's so fucked up. I was literally just thinking of him and shit. And so I've worked with him on, like, I directed an episode of the Goldbergs he was on and stuff. Yeah. And I was in a movie called Wrong Reasons. My friend Josh Roush directed that he was also in and stuff. So we've crossed paths, but I've always thought of him as like, this motherfucker's famous because he was on SNL long before I was on making movies and shit.
Yeah.
He told me that he ran across Muse in a club. He was like, oh, your boy was on the road. I shared a bill with him. He's doing real good. And we were like, oh, that was huge to have somebody who's like a bona fide fucking working road comic be like, oh, your boy's one of us now. And shit. Again, I wouldn't say his stand-up career is not my project, although Jason Mewes in general has been my lifelong professional project. But I do have skin in the game and seeing him like be accepted because I also know how it feels to be like, yeah, but I'm not the thing. I'm not that thing. I look up to that thing, but I don't define myself as that thing.
It was territorial for a while.
You think so?
And I can tell you when it started.
When?
And I can say this because he's my friend. The first person we saw do stand-up where we got territorial was Joel McHale.
Now, why did you get territorial?
Because we were like, yo, you're famous already. You already have money.
And so if
people, like this is I must have been like 34.
He wasn't a comic to begin with?
He was an actor. And he was a sketch guy. And by the way, and here's what's crazy is I knew him. And I know him now, but I knew him then.
Right.
I still think he's a better actor than he is host. I think he's a great actor. I mean, he's a great host as well. But you
like him as an actor.
He's funny as shit as an actor. And we did a sketch for a development deal for Budweiser. And it was me and him living in a luxury suite in a stadium.
Okay.
And that was the character. And it was going to be a TV show with a series of commercials to launch a TV show.
Fucking
and
Ted Lasso in the making right there.
It was fucking going to be huge. And I watched him act and I was like, this guy's really quick. But I don't think he did traditional stand-up. And then when he started touring doing stand-up, I knew the community was like, the community's feelings were, and I say this, I don't know if I shared this per se, but only because I actually knew him before. But
I'm just going to tell you right now, this shit gets me hard. Because this is like the business of comedy.
Oh, there's certain
And I've been a lifelong comedy fan, so hearing this shit is like, are you serious? There is a cabal? There is an Illuminati?
Yeah. Your theory would be, okay. So you don't know anything about stand-up and you look at the fucking bill and you go, I can see Tom Segura, who I don't know, Bert Kreischer, who I don't know, Jay Medicine had, who I don't know, or Joel McHale. I'm going to go see Joel McHale. I know that guy from The Soup. He's amazing. And then you go and he has never done stand-up, and you go, well, stand-up sucks. I'm not saying that Joel bombed on those shows, but if he had a rough set because he wasn't doing it for 15 years, then people will be like, well, why would I ever want to go see Bert Kreischer? I've never heard of that name. So there's no way he's going to be as good as.
Down.
That was the first time I heard that was like, well, that's an interesting take. And he was touring with my friend KP Anderson, I think, who was helping him work on his material. So I think his shows were pretty awesome. And he was doing theaters. He wasn't even doing clubs. He was doing theaters. But
that's what I did for years was theaters.
Yeah, theaters are a different muscle. I mean, I watched Robert Irvine cook on stage in a theater and do a Q&A and kill. But
did I ruin your shot by being like, I'm going to get comfy and shit? And then I saw all of a sudden texts rushed in. They were like, what the fuck? But you were so wonderful. Like, we can't fucking upset Bert. He's telling a story. So they came in like fucking little elves.
No,
I forgot how much money you got going on in this operation. I didn't forget when I pulled up and saw your fucking Prevost in the driveway.
They're setting it up for tour.
It reminded me of happier times. I had a bus once.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I sold it because this is expensive, right? Like you throw a tire, it's like a couple $1,000.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
First time I threw a tire and they were like, it's $4,000. I was like, I don't want to own a bus anymore. It's too fucking pricey and shit. But I would bus.
I would just have it live outside my house and take naps in it.
Right? 100%.
It smells like the road. It makes me feel comfortable.
Anyway, back to it. Sorry.
But then Steve-O got into stand-up, and there were a bunch of comics that were really angry with Steve-O.
Steve-O wasn't a comic before.
He wasn't a comic. And that was the same time as when you watch people go out and do clubs and comics, and dare I say, like purists. Purists who probably roll their eyes at me taking my shirt off. Purists who can't believe, there's purists. There's a lot of anger inside our comedy community. And there's comedy sticks his nose up at ambition, at any type of trying to market yourself. I mean, they're purists in our business.
Right.
And they did not like Steve-O. And I, on the other hand, was like, I would love to hear Steve-O stories. Like, I mean, he's really, and I think he was sober when he was doing it. And you're like, I'd love to hear his stories. And then you see Steve-O really take care of stand-up, and like he's doing the Omaha Funny Bone once a year. He's doing these, he didn't quit doing it. And he got really good at it. And he put out specials, and you're like, wow, good for Steve-O. Now listen, there's still a disconnect with Steve-O. Because he didn't start the way we started. Sometimes things we think, Steve-O doesn't see that. And I think there's always going to be that disconnect. But I mean, Steve-O's been doing stand-up now for like fucking 15 years. So you can't say he's not a stand-up. And the same thing with Jay. Jay's been doing it for a while now. You can't say he's not a stand-up. You can definitely say.
He's been professionally funny since 1994. So 31 years. And people know him as like, oh, you're the guy in the movie. But for all they know, he used to be that guy in the clubs, and we just brought it to the stage. Which, to be fair,
T.I. is doing stand-up. The rapper.
And was not
he is arguably the king of the South. He is one of the best rappers ever.
But was not a comedian ever.
Ever. And one day he goes, I think I want to try stand-up. And now he does stand-up. And you're like, wow.
So by that token, then, not to bring it back to me, but fucking, we are in a narcissistic business. Was I right to be like, I can't go to comedy clubs?
You could go to comedy clubs.
Why though?
Because there's a stage and you have fans. That's
But that's Joel McHale.
No, but that's totally fine. It's totally fine. I know. And you're asking me. I'm certain there's a comic that would say no, but you're asking me.
Yeah.
And I go 100%. I mean, listen, we had to deal with it in like internally in stand up, meaning our chat threads, our text threads.
Right.
There were people that hated Brendan Schaub when he got into stand up and wouldn't call him a stand up.
He's the
MMA fighter podcast, Fighter in the Kid.
Yeah.
And then and there were these internet kids, and there was one kid I think that dressed up as Dragon, and he did a show. I was just when I was starting to pop. And I did in Schaumburg, it's a really big club. And I did 2 Thursday, 2 Friday, 3 Saturday, 2 Sunday. And on Saturday, there was a kid that came in at noon. He dressed as a dragon, I think. I could be off, and I hope I'm not. And it's not the guy Puff the Magic Dragon. He dressed as like a unicorn. He was an internet star.
Right.
He charged $100 per ticket and $100 for a meet and greet. And children, they did it at noon. Children and their parents came out in droves.
So I remember like a Blippy kind of affair, or a Miss Rachel or whatever the fuck. Like,
and
internet huge,
and all he did is come out and go, "I'm a dragon," and they went crazy. It's his catchphrase. I'm a dragon. Who wants to pet a dragon?
The only thing that bugs me about that is like, fucking 30 years ago, I was like, what if I went out on stage dressed like a dragon and said, I'm a dragon? And fuck it. I was so scared, Bert. Like,
it's not that guy. Just so we're clear, it's not Piff. It's
Piff
definitely not Piff.
Dragon. But it was somebody, regardless.
It was not Piff.
So in your world, that cat counts.
He has to. He's selling tickets. He has to.
Fucking moving.
He has
putting
to.
asses in seats for higher than the premium normal ticket price.
I mean, it's. Listen, our porn's movies.
Yeah.
Is a, despite the fact that it ruins it, is the theme song for Friends still a song?
Yeah.
And by the way, it was before.
You can still listen to it. Wasn't it a song before it was the theme song? Like,
now
I'll be there for you.
You can't unhear or unsee Friends to it.
Yes and no. I was not, and this ain't bragging rights, and I ain't trying to come off cool because I know people fucking adore the show, but I wasn't a Friends guy. So I think of that song, and I don't necessarily think of those kids.
Oh, really?
No, I think of that song, and I'm like, that's a jam. Like, it's like, to me, it's just a good song. Oddly enough,
I'll tell you.
How I do know, I'm not obtuse. I do know. It has a very intimate connection to one of the most popular sitcoms ever made that I did not partake in yet. Let me just throw that out there.
You can still get into it.
Good. Life is long. And I fucking lived through worse shit. There's a chance I may finally get to a place in life where I was like, you know what? It's time for Chandler. It's time to, find out why people for years have been going, what is his big joke? Could I be more of a dick? Or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe my version of Friends is way more entertaining.
Friends log lines are, we're on a break.
That was huge, right?
It was fucking huge. Someone said it to me yesterday. Someone said it. You were on a break.
And gave it one of these. And I went, hey. That makes me feel old. There was a time where my finger was all over fucking pop culture, every pulse I knew, but now.
So wait, what was Kevin Smith doing when Friends was popular? The year was
making fucking mall rats, bitch. Making no. I was making your childhood, bitch. No. I was 94 Clerks, 95 Mallrats, 97 Chasing Amy, 99 Dogma, which now is coming back again. June 5th.
In theaters.
Screens June everywhere. 5th. You could literally pay like $5 to see it.
Were you just in Cannes?
I went back to the Cannes Film Festival with the movie.
Cannes?
You sound like my mother. My mother was like, how was Cannes? And I never correct her. She's fucking 79.
Yeah.
So I wasn't about to correct you. I see you got a Prevost in the bus, in the driveway. You know what you're doing. But yes, we went back to Cannes for the first time I went back since Clerks 2, which was 2006. So it's been 19 years since I went to Cannes. Beginning of my career, never had plans to go to Cannes. Never thought I was like that kind of filmmaker. But Clerks got into the International Critics Week section. A few years later, 1999, Dogma went. So we got to go out of competition, official selection, walk the stairs and do all that shit. Apparently, I did not remember this, but just recently my friend John Gordon said, we got a standing ovation. I was like, oh, fuck. I didn't know. I did remember when we went back in 2006 and did Clerks 2. It was a midnight screening. We got a standing ovation, 8 minutes long. So recently, Dogma came back into my life. I've been touring it for the last month, did 20 cities and shit, 2 shows a night. It was bliss. It was like going to a church every night where I'm both the priest and Jesus at the same time. And in the midst of all of it, Alessandra Williams, the lady who saved the movie, bought it away from fucking Harvey Weinstein and shit like that. She saved my movie about angels from the devil himself. A movie that you referred to so charmingly on the last time I was here as Ben and Matt Get Wings. Still makes me laugh to this day. I literally at one point, I was just like, could be a great subtitle, but they went with Dogma Resurrected, which I'll always question versus Ben and Matt Get Wings. I was like, fuck, that literally tells the whole story, doesn't it? So Alessandra goes, I submitted to the Cannes Film Festival. I was like, well, we already went. In 1999, they're going to take the movie. She goes, no, it's a 4K version now. It's new and stuff. And I was like, you're very sweet, but it's not going to happen. I was absolutely wrong. There's a section called Cannes Classics, and generally a movie has to be 50 years old to go back. It has to have been at the festival once before, no worries, and then come back in order to come back like 50 years old. But we were 25 years old, and they let us come back. So it's not like this matters in the world, but when you go, you get what they call laurels that you get to put on your poster that say official selection, So we got one for
those little things in the little that's
palms,
cool,
right? So we got one for 1999 official selection, but now we got a second set for 2025, and it's very rare that a movie gets to go to Cannes at all, let alone gets to go back. So it was very fucking dope, man. It's been fucking cool. But why did I even bring up Dogma in the first place? Dogma, 1999.
Wait,
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, 2001.
Oh, we're talking about Friends.
So Friends kept going. So 2001 is Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And that I would say is like my apex, like cultural apex and shit. Like after that, people are like Dogma, they're like, holy shit, this motherfucker's going places. And the next movie I make is Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. And they're like, oh, all right, well, what else is going on? And then they start paying more attention to Wes Anderson and shit. But I realized recently on tour, because I watch Dogma every fucking night, and I see exactly what happened in my career. Like I was on this trajectory to be a great filmmaker and shit. In one article, they called me the next Scorsese, which is fucking so stupid, especially based on the movies I made. But as I watch Dogma every night on tour, and even in Cannes, like it occurs to me what happened. Jason Mewes' performance in Dogma is so fucking off the chain wonderful. He steals the movie away from like Alan Rickman of all people and shit. And I remember making that flick and being like, I don't know, like I've always believed in him and shit, put him in Clerks, Mallrats, Chasing Amy, but like he really hit his stride. And I was like, I'm just going to make movies like this for the rest of my life. So I made like 26 Jay and Silent Bob movies and no regrets because he still makes being on a movie set fun. He still makes me fucking laugh. So I got to sit there and watch him every night on the big screen. It was funny. He was there. Like when I watched the movie, it's like seeing some of my favorite people in the world when they're at their absolute youngest, right? Like Matt Damon looks like Matt Damon's daughter in this fucking movie. It's so long ago. Jason Mewes is a cherub in the flick, and I'm watching him fucking steal the movie away from everybody. It's the opening night, 420.
Look at Matt Damon.
Look at him. Look at a baby, man. He looks like the puppet from fucking Team America.
If you could go back right now in time, if you...
You know, you want to see him be like Matt Damon.
What would you tell these? What would you, if you could go back in time?
To tell these cats?
And what would you whisper in their ear?
I would say the exact fucking same thing I said to him when we put him on a plane to go back to Los Angeles to win a fucking Oscar for writing the Academy Awards. Don't forget to thank us. And they were like, we won't. And they did.
God. Ben Affleck is so complicated.
I love that you call him a Fleck.
I love him.
Affleck.
I love him.
I'm not going to correct you ever again, but you say a Fleck, and I think it's so charming.
It's because I love
Affleck.
him. Listen, here's how
loving a person, one would imagine you'd want to pronounce his name correctly. You're like, I love him so much, I just want to call him by a different name.
You know how when you love your daughter so much, you give her a nickname,
yes.
and then it's just yours, and no one else calls her that.
Ben Affleck.
And if you heard,
has he been on your show?
No, I'm probably a bad recipe for him.
Why?
Because
he was just on Theo Von.
Yeah, I'm a little different than Theo, though. Theo's sober, Ben's
with
sober.
all due respect. Yeah, but like
I've said publicly, I hope he falls off the wagon and calls me. Like I've said,
maybe don't say that.
I said I love Jennifer Garner when she picked him up and took him to fucking Jack in the Box.
I honestly, the way you call him Ben Affleck might be enough to push you over the edge.
Ben Affleck, you're. I know you listen. Just fucking come on.
I remember last time I was on, I was like, I'm trying to sell my house. You were like, Ben Affleck's house? I always wanted to live there. And you literally went downstairs and I'm sure off the corner of your eye, you're like, honey, can we buy that house?
No, I've still said, I want that house. I've said that to her all the time. Such a cool fucking house.
Can I tell you a story about that house?
Please.
So let me just tell you the adventure I've been on since I was on the fucking show last time. Last time I was on the show, I was like, I'm selling that house. You could totally buy it. And we bought a house in the Valley on Berry and moved into it. Then I went off to New Jersey and made a movie called The 430 Movie at my own movie theater. I bought a movie theater.
I know that.
Castle Cinemas. And so I made a movie there and stuff. Then when we came back from making the movie, like I said to my wife, like there's a real thin fucking path by which I can get us back into the old house. And she was just like, oh my God. She didn't really like the new house and shit. So we had put the new house, or the old house, on sale. It was in the Wall Street Journal and the fucking Hollywood Reporter. It was on sale for 9 days. Then we yanked it off sale because this was my philosophy. I was like, there was a time in the middle of 2 strikes. Nobody had any money. Who the fuck was going to buy? I was like, look, if Bert Kreischer can't buy this house, who could fucking buy this house? Nobody. So I said, we have a better chance of selling the house we just bought and moved into than we ever have of selling that fucking house. And I said, you don't even want to be in this house. You want to be in the old house. So, I mean, I'm going to have to work until I die. Yeah. Like, because our mortgage back in the day for 20 years on that house was like less than $4,000. I would hate to tell you what our mortgage is to get back into the house. And shit. Jesus. Now, we didn't sell the house. The good news is we held on to it. But between the buying of the other house and the 2 moves, where it's like we paid to move everything, and then 8 months later called the same company, and they're like, you're kidding, right? But they knew exactly who to bring and how many boxes because they'd already fucking done it. So money was lost, don't get me wrong, and shit like that. And now, more than ever, I'm like, I wish I still had it. But
I just would have given it back to you.
Happy wife, happy life. I know. I would have been like, Bert, you got to let me back in the house. But the good thing is...
I'm like, hey, do you just want to live there?
I would rent it from you. She loves that house so much. Like, she wants to be buried there. And I'm sure, like, one of us... Well, look, she's going to kill me in the house. Mm-hmm. Like, I know that. She never wants to leave. One day I'm going to be in the house and some butler's going to be like, but sir, you've been here all along, or something like that. And I'm going to see myself in a picture from the 20s in my house next to my wife with a knife over my head and shit. She loves that fucking house. So
my wife loves
being able to bring
house.
her back into the house was like everything. Like I was like, oh my God, I'll leave off of this for the rest of my fucking life. It was forgotten so fucking quickly. And it was spun to a more like, well, of course you got me back in the house. Like we shouldn't have left in the first place.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I am back in that house.
I wish I had
that being said, I told my wife, because like after, when the fires happened, sadly, of course, a lot of people lost very expensive houses.
God.
And suddenly the price we were asking for the house when we had it on sale for like 9 days and nobody was interested.
Sorry.
Probably worth way fucking more at this point. But now I'll never let go of the house. I will be buried in it. Go ahead.
I'm trying to show you a video. Can you play this on the screen? Talking about
Tony
houses.
Stark it and go like that.
In
I don't know if
LeeAnn.
you saw that movie. It's an indie film.
What's that? Tony Iron Man? Barely.
I think it was in Cannes.
I'm not a big fan of John Favreau's.
Favreau.
I love
Ben Affleck, John Favreau. It's like you're your own French film festival. Mispronouncing every famous fucker's name.
I'm joking. I love John
Who's
Favreau.
the guy who made, one of the greatest actors in the world, retired to sew shoes and then comes back to work for Paul Thomas Anderson?
Oh, wait. Is that,
I will find you.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
All right. So you pronounce that right.
Yeah,
it's not like Daniel Day-Lewis.
Danielle?
That would be it.
There are so many things in life we just never get around to. Taking up a hobby, cleaning out the garage, little things that don't make a huge difference, but they're still there. Yet there's that one thing that most of us have probably been neglecting that's going to have a huge impact on our family's future. It's life insurance. And with SelectQuote, getting covered with the right policy for you is easier and more affordable than you think. SelectQuote is one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years of experience, helping over 2 million customers find over $700 billion in coverage since 1985. Other life insurance brokers offer impersonal, one-size-fit-all policies that may cost you more and cover you less, while SelectQuote, their licensed insurance agents work for you to tailor a life insurance policy for your individual needs in as little as 15 minutes. And have you ever worried about getting coverage with pre-existing health condition? SelectQuote partners with carriers that provide policies for a variety of health conditions. If you have high blood pressure, no problem. If you're one of those guys like me, I don't know if you heard that 2 Bears that I did where they wanted to take my blood pressure and I said no, because that's how I am. I don't let them take my blood pressure. I know it's okay because I get the white coat syndrome. That's us, okay? This is the right place for you. SelectQuote. They shop, you save. Get the right life insurance for you for less at selectquote.com/Bert. Go to selectquote.com/Bert today to get started. That's selectquote.com/Bert. All right, people, listen up. These are not your average boring wristwatches. These are original grain. Here's what I love about watches. And I'm a little bit of a watch guy, not a huge watch guy, but a little bit of a watch guy. A watch is a talking piece. It is something someone sees and goes, oh, nice watch. And you start up a conversation. I think watches are really cool. They're archaic. If we're going to be very candid, you get it right on your phone. It's all over the walls. Everyone tells you what time it is. But these are fun. It's a throwback. It's like walking to work. It's like riding a bike to work. I love watches. I think they're absolutely beautiful. And the thing I love about original grain, these watches are built from legit reclaimed materials. This one right here is made from Jack Daniel whiskey barrels. And these right here, Taylor guitar tone wood. And they also have some made from actual military ammo crates. So if your dad or your granddad is like a World War II, Vietnam, Korean War kind of guy that served time, it's a great conversation. They're the kind of watches that you want to wear so you can tell a story about without just saying a word. Like people go, oh, that's beautiful. What is that? You like Jack Daniels? I love Jack Daniels. I love Jack Daniels. They've got insane attention to detail too. We're talking Japanese movement, smooth, durable, sexy, and just like me, a little bit like me. All right. Not as good as me, but they do smell like Jack Daniels. Here's the part that actually makes me feel good about being a consumer for once. They give all their proceeds to planting trees and helping veterans with PTSD. That's right. You're not just buying a watch. You have a watch with a great conscience takeaway. You're spending your money with a great conscience. And this is just in time for Father's Day. $100 off right now on their sale. But if you want to use my code BERT at originalgrain.com, you can get an extra $50 off. That's $150 off. Tell Dad you love him. Tell him he's rugged and refined. Tell him with a whiskey barrel strap on his wrist. I'm telling you right now, this is a great Father's Day gift. If your dad's into guitars, I mean, boom. What an easy way to say, yo, I'm thinking about you a little more. Originalgrain.com/Bert. Use promo code BERT and get your dad and yourself a piece of history you can wear. This is not just a gift, it's a flex. That is originalgrain.com/Bert and use promo code BERT for Father's Day. I hope you enjoy. I always wondered, like Ben Affleck, like as you guys kind of both grew, you kind of grew apart.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like you tried to reach out and he wasn't receiving you, or he tried to reach out and you weren't receiving him?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. I don't think it's ever the other way. I don't think there's ever been a moment where he reached out where I was like, hello.
Yeah.
But that's the nature of like
becoming super, super famous.
Yeah. He's like, honestly, it's nothing about it sucks, because it's something that, like, at the beginning, I was like, this guy could be he should be a leading man. Like, the bigger he gets, the more validation it is for somebody who can't self-validate, right? So I'm like, I'm not saying he's fucking winning because of me, but like, I played a crucial role and I believed. And so seeing him get bigger and bigger and bigger over all these years has never done anything but fill me with joy personally, because there's a reason that I backed his horse. I just think he's amazing. I love him. But B, let's, not be fucking mince words about it. It's valuable to have a movie star friend when you're in the movie business. So, it's, for me, probably more beneficial than it is for him. You'd like every relationship to be mutually beneficial. Mm-hmm. I think in the beginning, it was more beneficial for him to be my friend than it was vice versa, because I had started and I had clerks and I had a career going and stuff. And it definitely flipped and became inverse, where it's like he's more valuable to me than I am to him, at least in what he does on the day-to-day. Now, I have sentimental value in as much as, like, anytime he comes back, it ain't for the money, because we never fucking pay. We're a scale operation, scale plus 10 if you're lucky. So nobody getting rich being in a Kevin Smith movie, not even getting a decent paycheck. You're getting the movie version of minimum wage. So that ain't from a guy going like, well, strategically, it's good for me to be in a Kevin Smith movie. Those days are gone. It's not a guy going like, well, I fucking need to I got to make ends meet this month. Like, that, it ain't financial. So at the end of the day, the sentimentality, the nostalgia for like, oh shit, I started with Kevin and Kevin's still doing it, because he lives in the movie world. He's in the movie business. I'm in the movie business. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'd argue you guys are even closer now than when he started. Meaning, you guys, I see him.
Well, when we started, he slept on my couch, and that hasn't happened in decades, Bert. So I'm gonna bet another way.
I see him more as a director.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now.
Me too.
I do.
Oh, I mean, definitely see him as a director, but not more of a director. Like, again, and I'm not like trying to take credit. Ben was always going to be what Ben's going to be. I just think he's so good at so many things.
Yeah.
And lately, now I'm just like, why waste it on entertainment? This motherfucker should be running. Like, for years, he's the most politically astute person I've ever met. But I think Ben's super smart enough to be like, why? Like, I'd much rather make pretend for a living. It's more lucrative and you get in less trouble. Nobody mad at you and stuff like that. But he is so fucking smart. That thing recently, a couple months ago, this clip going around. Every once in a while, the internet rediscovers how smart he is. And like, who knew Ben Affleck was so smart? But he said this fucking thing recently where somebody was like, what's going to happen with AI? AI is the end of creativity, the end of the business. And he had this real smart thing where essentially he was just like, well, AI doesn't know when to stop. It'll just keep creating. He's going, only an artist knows when a thing is finished. An artist knows when to stop, and that's the difference between AI and human beings, and that's why human beings will always be a part of the process. So beautiful, so perfect, so like, you listen and you go like, it's so unfair that he looks that good and he's that smart, and he has so many other things going for him and shit. But at the same time, I was like, that's my boy, so fucking brilliant and shit. So...
Wait, can I tell you how stupid I am?
Yeah.
I literally texted Joe 2 days ago, is it cheating if I get an AI girlfriend? Like if I get
What was Joe's answer?
He was like, this is, we're getting into a gray area around here because she's not real, but I can create her to be the thing I need.
Wow.
And I was like, and then I can literally get videos of her talking to me, being like, hey, LeeAnn being a bitch today.
I was going to say,
yeah.
Where does LeeAnn stand?
She's like, let's cut to the chase. You want to see my pussy? And I'm like, fuck yeah. She's like, don't worry about LeeAnn. She'll be back. Like I can make her almost like part therapist, part whore.
I'll be honest with you. Your telling of it is hot enough for me to jerk off to. I don't need to see it. Just seeing how excited you are at the prospect of a digital-only girlfriend who will just say all the right things.
It's really fun.
Yeah. It's basically leaving the imagination out of masturbation. Because masturbation from time immemorial has been pulling a picture in your fucking head as you pull your pud. Now you don't even have to do that part. So all that's left is for them to create a thing that moves the pud as well, and then you're just hands-free. Then we're in Wally World, just cruising on deck chairs, drinking cake out of fucking cups.
AI will never get me, and I'll tell you why. There'll never be another. You can never create an AI Bert that is as Bert as I am.
True.
I am so broken. I am so unique. I want to tell you a gross story that is the most Bert thing you're ever going to fucking... LeeAnn and I were in Hawaii. It's our last day. She's getting ready to catch a flight. We were down at the beach. She says, we've had a couple drinks. She says, do you want to maybe go upstairs and do a little send-off? And I was like, absolutely.
You're like, no need. I have the AI. It already happened while you were getting dressed.
Turns out you've been wearing bikinis all week. So we go upstairs and we're having sex. And AI will never be able to script this line. We're having sex, and she says to me, are you going to miss me? And I said, yeah. And she goes, tell me how much you're going to miss me. I said, I'm going to miss you so much. She goes, what are you going to miss the most? And I said, breakfast. Because we were having the funnest breakfasts. And I was like, AI's never going to be able to go breakfasts.
Yeah.
Our breakfasts were so good, and we would wait for them, and we would plan them, and then she would get a cocktail, and I would get a specialty cocktail, and then we would look at each other's breakfasts, and I was like, AI's never writing that. Never.
Did she come when you said breakfast?
Yeah, she goes, oh, the fucking bacon. God.
Breakfast.
Jesus.
That's truth. That's honesty. I wrote the weirdest thing in my life that I've ever written a couple months ago when I was on tour with Jay, when we were doing first half of the tour, the oral sex tour, AURALSECTS, we did in February. Then I went on a Dogma tour by myself, and then me and Jay are going back out on the road mid-June on the second half of the oral sex tour. So this is the first half of the tour, and I wrote something that's probably the most fucked up thing I ever wrote, which is saying something because I wrote Tusk. The thing said, I wrote to my wife. I said, I can't believe I said, I'm regretting the fact that we didn't fuck before I left and watched Matlock instead. Never imagined I'd put those words together in a lifetime. But fucking, to be fair, that Kathy Bates Matlock show is pretty fire.
Yeah.
She's really good. Like, who knew? Age appropriate, but also just like fucking old people solving crimes. Like, there's a reason. I was like, I said to Jennifer at one point, we're watching it, and I was like, it's oddly fulfilling to watch the elderly solve crimes. And she's like, that's the elderliest thing you've ever said. She's like, you sound like somebody's grandparent. And now you realize why Matlock, fucking Diagnosis, Murder, She Wrote, all this shit is Quincy. Because old people like to sit there and watch other old people do crime solving shit. I guess it totally works. So I did write those words, man. And then,
wow,
this is my fucking weird sex story on tour. Spokane, same fucking place I was talking about. Part of the reason she went along, she was like, oh, I remember years ago I was there with you and stuff. So she came out, plus it was New Year's and stuff. And so before I went to the second show on the second night, I was like, fucking the whole reason you came out was for like the fucking nookie, and it hasn't really gone on. And she had her fucking headphones on. And she's like, you got your show? And I was like, well, I got 10 minutes. And she was just like, well, I'm listening to my podcast. She was like, I was like, fucking murder podcast. She's like, it's true crime. Don't call it murder podcast. And I said, yes, I understand you. So she goes, if you don't mind me listening to my podcast, I will blow you. And I was like, all right. And so she kept her fucking headphones in and went to work. And I couldn't hear the podcast, but she was reviewing it through my dick. She'd be like this, she'd be like, yes. And be like, 12 people, piece of shit, man. And then fucking back in. Yeah. It was very dramatic. Still found a way to fucking get there, though. God, I was like, you know what? Like, now, hearing what you said about the AI fucking girlfriend, I'm like, I don't think mine was weird at all.
This is my podcast.
I guarantee you, if I asked my wife, like, is an AI fucking girlfriend okay? She'd be like, no.
Oh, my wife would say no, but I go, then I can watch porn. Like, I would never check, like they do.
Yeah, my wife too is just like, I don't care if you watch porn.
Yeah, I don't care. And my wife doesn't care if I go to a strip club. But at the same time,
she might care if I did that. Do you? We've probably had this discussion, but porn. Where are you in porn? What's your pref?
Point of view.
Is that right?
I like to see things that I see when I have orgasms.
That's interesting.
Or the things that turn me on during sex, like certain visuals are the thing that I see. Stimuli. So I like that. It's amazing how often LeeAnn catches me just almost staring at during sex at parts of her body or like an angle.
Yeah.
And
but I buy that. That's like, you're like, I'm visual. Like,
yeah.
That's how I get there.
And so that's what I enjoy. I can't do anything.
Is it pro? Have to be well lit, or do you prefer amateur? I don't think I'm saying anything controversial. I prefer amateur.
I just saw the hottest amateur porn I've ever seen in my life.
Where it's called so amateur, where it's just like, this wasn't meant to be seen, or so amateur where they're like, we're in on this, but we don't do this very often.
No, it was. I'll tell you what, I couldn't even tell you if it's amateur.
Right.
And if it is an amateur, then she is the best actress I've ever seen, and he's the best actor I've ever seen. In my life, they were better than any two. Bogey and McCall, they're better than anyone. She
went pretty far back, though.
I couldn't think of another.
That's so wild that you went that to black and white movies. These two fuckers are better than the fuckers in a black and white movie who couldn't even really act back in the day.
I couldn't think of
Meryl Streep seems to be a gold standard.
I don't know who she was with. I needed like a couple.
That's true. Bogey and Bacall. They're the Bogey and Bacall of Bugatti, or what's that shit called?
Bugatti. It was called Caribbean. I actually said this on a Barstool podcast, and the one guy goes, "Dude, I've fucking seen it." You're never gonna find it.
That's fucking rare. It's very rare where somebody's ever like,
or someone get my iPad. I can find it on my iPad.
Same porn as you.
I can find it on my iPad. It's so good.
What's the story, or what happened?
I'll tell you.
Just two people?
Is that my fucking iPad right there?
I'm excited you were.
It was so easy. That was so easy. It is. Hang on.
It is so beloved that it's on the laptop, ready to go at a moment's notice.
No, I know, but I know if it goes,
you can go into history.
I can go into history.
This is what people have nightmares about. My wife is always like, "Please, if I die, erase my browser." She's going, so many things I'd have to explain. And I haven't, it's never occurred to me to go look at her browser and be like, what the fuck's she talking about? It'd be amazing. It's a series of how to kill your husband and shit.
This is it. It's called Caribbean Boy. They've done 44 videos. She had 32.7.
Wait, the boy, that's the name of the couple?
Caribbean Boy.
So do you think he is the man in the relationship?
He is. Let me explain the plot to you.
Please do.
And it's so good. Okay. It is so good. She's getting a massage. And I think she's British. And he is a Caribbean young dude, right? But like light-skinned, Puerto Rican looking, hair in a bun.
They're not a couple?
They're not a couple. She's getting a massage. And he's got his hair in a bun. He's a good-looking kid.
Yeah.
And he's giving the massage. And he's casually just like testing boundaries. And like he kind of moves the towel. And she's like, no, hey, she's on her stomach. And she goes, it seems a little high. And he goes, yeah, but I got to rub here. And she goes, I know, but she keeps scooting it down. But it's so real. She keeps scooting it down. And then she sees.
But if there's, why would the camera be running? If
it's a steady shot, or like one single
Even
shot.
so, what is it? A security camera in the world?
Look, it's kind of grainy, right? It's kind of grainy.
But that to me instantly reads
hold on.
Not authentic because
trust me, I'm a pro at this. Hold on one second. You got to see.
I've jerked off to this so many times. So I got my head on straight when it comes to this clip.
It's OnlyFans Caribbean boy collaborator. So she goes in to get a massage. Yeah, it's very real.
There's two angles.
I know. Here we go. Can I tell you why it's good, Kevin? Kevin, can I tell you why it's good?
If it's one angle, Bert, it's porn. Two angles is cinema.
Okay, but
as Scorsese tells us.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, I think he said something like.
So you can tell she's like, oh, don't do this. This is it. And
I ain't gonna bust your bubble. It can be hot as fuck, but slowly, that is definitely.
Hold on. Slowly, he's doing stuff where he lowers it, and you can see she's kind of guarding herself. And then at a certain point,
it's artifice. There's no truth in this art.
It's so real.
No,
but don't tell me.
I'm telling two angles.
We're talking about honesty.
Two angles is a lie. One angle, possibility of the truth. Two angles, definitely a lie. And the one angle is not like, oh, they have no idea the camera's there.
He moves the towel just to give her a butt massage. Yeah. And she's like, but her acting is so good. She's like, are you massaging my buttocks? And he's like, of course. He goes, all the butt. She goes, I'm just not used to that area.
It's just her being British?
She's her acting.
Because it could be it. It could be like, you're not used to hearing British people fuck. Dunno. She sounds like Paul McCartney. She's the Paul McCartney of porn.
She is so believable in this that when he switches her, when she gives in, you're like, I bought it. And I went, I'm really. It's like, you ever watch Backroom Casting Couch? Speaking of Jon Favreau,
no.
You never seen Backroom Casting Couch? Backdoor Casting Couch? Backdoor Casting Couch is possibly the most fascinating series in pornography. It is.
Wait, Jon Favreau?
The guy sounds like Jon Favreau.
Oh, I was like,
and so the whole time,
God, that guy. Is there anything he can't do? Mandalorian, Backdoor Casting Couch, fuck,
Backroom Casting Couch.
I forgot that you've got lightning speed.
That's it. That's every episode's on Casting Couch. Every episode is on Backroom Casting Couch. Backdoor. Anyway, so what happens is the guy comes in, he brings in a girl to interview her, and he says, so you want to be a model? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, it's a lot of crazy business, and you're really beautiful. Where you from? He's talking to her. And then the best part, and this is, I can't get beyond, this is the reason you watch, is when he says, well, that's great. Well, the producers are going to want to see you in action. And she's like, okay. He's like, so I'm going to need you to suck my dick. And then the look on their faces where they're like, huh? That's where you go, either these women are good actresses or this is very real. And you can't.
But we know for a fact they have to be actresses because they can't put it up if it's not, right?
I guess you get them to sign the consent. I mean, it's the thing about.
But that's the thing. Think about it. Like, they're not in the world of the porn. They are meant to be auditioning for porn or for anything.
They want to be a porn star. They want to be a porn star.
So then why are they acting surprised at all if somebody's like, well
some of them are like, I've seen the outtakes where they go.
And I'm not saying like every person should expect, but it seems like, I thought it was a case of like, they thought they were going to audition for an indie film. No. Like, this is a porn.
They know they're getting auditioning to do porn. And then he says, I need you to suck my dick. And then they're like, okay. And then he ends up fucking them in the ass, and having sex with them.
How many episodes is like, that's not for me, and then they leave?
Oh, they have he never posts those.
But it happens.
But I've seen the outtakes where they're like, no, you got to pay me. Like, and he's like, well, there's no pay in this. This is an audition. And they're like, yeah, no, I know the industry rate. And I see your camera. If you're going to film it, no, I'm not going to do this. And I've seen the outtakes. But just go to one Backroom Casting Couch, because you got to see the moment. It's so crazy. When he goes, now I'm gonna need you to suck my dick, and they're like, okay.
Who
pays for? Oh, geez,
wow, my goodness, yeah. There's a
here.
They didn't. I forgot.
Okay.
You know what? I didn't forgot.
I didn't
come here expecting to see hardcore nudity.
Hang on. This is.
I didn't wear enough underwear.
Is this Christine googling it? No. This is someone who does not watch porn. Go to Pornhub. You don't go to Backroom Casting Couch. Go to Pornhub. Type in Backroom Casting Couch. Yes, you're 18 years old. Type in Backroom Casting.
Look at you with the porn hack. What is that all about? How do you, why that way as opposed to the way they were doing it?
Because then you're going into their ad space. Don't worry, this is going to be way too hard to get someone to find the porns I watch. So get off. Don't worry about this. This isn't going to happen.
You know, it's a little depressing when you're in a room with another guy looking up at porn clips. You know, at home by myself, it's an erotic fucking odyssey that I'm on. But here with you,
we started
I'm like,
talking about authenticity.
It's true.
And so I thought this was a good bring around because it's like, you know, when some of the porns, when I disconnected from porn was when it was a lot of, fuck me, because I never had sex like that.
I too fell out of porn, and that's not even like somebody going, yeah, right. No, I did. So much so that I didn't understand. I saw something and somebody made a daddy reference, and I didn't know that was a thing.
Ugh.
I've been married 27 years, so you know she's never, and she's like hardcore feminist. So there's never like daddy is just. I mean, that would make me sad. I would think about my dead father, and it's like he's gone. I fucking never found out who he really was. Like that's gonna pull me right out of the orgasm and shit.
I've heard my wife say "daddy" so much that
to
it would no to her daddy.
Oh, she calls you daddy.
Like, why are we talking about your dad?
Yeah, you're like that's a real boner killer. You're like I gotta look at AI porn of you in a bathing suit in order to get back in the moment. And shit.
So I could never.
But daddy is apparently like a term of art now for. In people just having sex, not just in porn, but like. A younger generation use the term, and I don't understand.
I never understood.
Some say mommy, and that too is.
Well, I never understood mom and daughter or twins.
Sisters. In terms of porn. Yeah,
that's gross. That's fucking incest.
Yeah,
what are we looking at?
I too have like whenever they're like, hey man, they're related. I'm like, ew, let's turn this off.
Ugh.
Like what happened there? How sad.
I'll tell you what got me back in.
That's a really bad parent. I don't want to.
Horrific parent.
Yeah, I'm not watching this story. I'd rather. Can we watch The Parent Trap? Those parents are bad, but they get together at the end. It all works out.
And by the way, for a period, it was like a radio thing.
What was?
Like when they'd be like, we got mom and daughter in here, and they're both going to get naked for concert tickets.
Like, just like on morning zoo shows and shit.
I'm almost certain at one point, and Mike Calza can call me and let me know. I'm almost certain he did it. I'm almost certain he did it once.
Yeah, I don't see why that's a thing.
But it was almost like porn was so not real. You had the benefit of the doubt. You're going to look past it. I get it. We're having a good time, you know.
I mean, look, it's a spectrum, and so I ain't judging, but like, it's for me, I'm like, well, that takes me in a different place altogether.
It's gross. I tell you what got me back in was down blousing.
Now, what is that?
It's the best. Is it
what it sounds like?
It's exactly what it sounds like. It is a woman cleaning a toilet and with a loose fitting top or doing yard work, and you see her tits. And that is real for me because that happens. And you're like, and that's the hottest thing in the world.
But but in this instance, it's all artifice.
In this one, yeah, but I know that it happens in my real life with LeeAnn. Like when she's doing the dishes and she's got a loose fitting shirt on and I see something, that just sends me through. So it brings me once again back to perspective.
Yeah.
And I guess if we're talking art, the art I enjoy, and it's the same thing you just said. This is going to be meta as fuck.
We'll get
the same thing you just said about why old people like watching old people solve crimes.
Which is?
Because it's them. It's their perspective. I wish I could solve a mystery.
Right.
I'm old.
And while you watch the porn, you're like, I wish I could do what they're doing. While looking at this particular hole.
Or you go, I like that I do this also. I like seeing side tit. Right. I like seeing side boob. I like it. And for me, everything's perspective. Like I love Sarah Silverman's new special. So good.
Does she?
No, she doesn't do anything in it.
Oh, it's like, does she?
No, but
is that where comedy is now? Where she's like, oh my God.
It was all
she used to like show the side vagina. Now she's like, I'm just having sex for comedy. No, isn't it? It's sad, right?
It's sad, but it's so funny. And it's all about family. And I think I'm getting to that age, and you talked about losing your dad, where your parents getting older, and you think about this finite time we have together.
100%, but this has nothing to do with porn. You just
it's just perspective. It's art. It's art. We said porn is movies. If comedy is, whatever is comedy, it's the same thing. I mean,
I will check that out. I like Sarah.
It's great.
And I've read a few things where people are like, it's funny but deep, and I like when people get real. If you can make people emotional, I mean, you know this as a comedian. The button to make people laugh and the button to make people afraid and the button to make people feel are almost the same button. If you can hit it on one, you could probably hit it on the other. That's why like a Robin Williams could venture into drama so fucking believably. because he knew how to find that button to make you laugh, but he also knew if you could do that, you could pretty much figure out the rest of the buttons, and the one that makes a person feel, brings them to tears. And horror, like I never say that I've ever made a true horror movie, but Tusk, is kind of, and Red State, these are thrillers, whatever the fuck. But I've noticed the button for like getting somebody, if you know how to make them laugh, you could do that as well.
Scaring someone's such a valuable.
I want to do an update. Our last time I was here, the machine was coming out, and you and Segura were working on the space thing.
Fat Astronauts.
Where is that?
Well, it's.
I always have this dream you're call me one day, but like, will you direct Fat Astronauts?
I need Tom to get fat again.
He got thin.
He got really thin.
It surprises me that you're not doing more movies. And that's not criticism. That's just an observation, because I'm like, you got a fucking funny audience. You're funny as fuck.
Movies are so hard to get made.
Yes and no.
I mean, I think
you just have to be willing to pivot and modify your expectations. This is like when my wife married me. My wife grew up like she was a cheerleader and she fucked like, fucking high school football guys and shit. She wasn't thinking about marrying somebody like me. And then we met and she fucking modified her expectations. And she was like, I could fucking deal with this. And we've been together like 27 years. So it's a matter of just modifying expectations.
At True Classic, the mission goes beyond fit and fabric. It's about helping guys show up with confidence and purpose. Their gear fits right, it feels amazing, and it's priced so every guy can step into confidence without stepping out of their budget. But what really sets them apart is not just the fit or the fabric, it's the intention behind everything they do. True Classic was built to make an impact, whether it's helping men show up better in their daily lives or giving back to undeserved communities, making people laugh with ads that don't take them too seriously. That helps also. They lead with purpose. I hear True Classic in my head when I put on a shirt and I'm going to see someone that's going to think about my body. I go, tighten the arms, just enough room in the stomach. Dude, True Classic's been in my head for a while, and I've been wearing True Classic for a while now, and you can feel the difference. The moment you throw it on, tailored where you want it, relaxed where you don't want it, I'm telling you, no bunching, no stiff fabric, just clean, effortless fit that actually works in real life. I always say, you look at movie stars with a t-shirt on and jeans coming out of a club, and they're like, why do they look so good? It's because they have thousands of dollars worth of trainers. Dude, for way less, you can get True Classic and you look just as good. Forget overpriced designer brands. Ditch disposable fast fashion. True Classic is built for comfort, built to last, and built to give back. You can grab them at Target or at Costco, or head to trueclassic.com/Bertcast and get hooked up today. This show is sponsored by Liquid IV. Prepping for a big summer means staying hydrated, so you can get the most out of your body and out of your day and live the most during those warm summer months. I'm telling you, growing up in Florida, those months would eat you up. LA, it's not so bad, but if you're in the middle of the country, you're screwed. Break the mold and your own ritual. Just one stick of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone, and it tastes fantastic. Powered by Live Hydroscience, an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. 3 times the electrolytes of the leading sports drink, 8 essential vitamins and nutrients, always non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, dairy-free, and soy-free, and dare I just say, delicious. If you are like me and you're trying to be healthy and your wife throws on a TV show at like 7 o'clock at night and you go, I need to call it. You know what's nice? Some high-end ice, big 32-ounce glass, 16 ounces of water, a Liquid IV, and treat it like a treat. It tastes fantastic. You can find all your favorite hydration multiplier flavors on their website, from acai berry, lemon lime, pina colada, or choose from their line of sugar-free flavors like raspberry, lemonade, white peach, and rainbow sherbet. I will simply say I've been a sugar-free guy for a long time. I've been back on their sugar ones. They're so good. They're so good. And if you're not boozing and partying, it's such a great way to stay hydrated and get yourself a treat. Get ready for summer with extraordinary hydration from Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code BERT at checkout. That's 20% off your first order with code BERT at liquidiv.com.
I got a movie. I think you should be the lead in the movie I want to make.
Buddy, I'm in.
Moose Jaws. Jaws, but with a moose instead of a shark. Did you just come?
I love this idea.
Did you just come?
Can I?
You would be our Chief Brody character. So you get to be a camp counselor who's fun and funny, and you're 3 weeks, animatronic moose.
I'm in.
Just Jaws, but with a moose.
I'm in.
Yeah?
I'm in.
When are you free?
I'm in.
Kevin Smith movies don't pay a lot of money, but like August. You will have a lot of joy, and you could probably own a piece of the movie.
That's August, probably.
Is that right?
Yeah. Moose Jaws is possibly that's the greatest idea I've ever heard.
I feel like I was talking to my producer, John Gordon, before I came over, and I was like, I think like Bert would kill it. And like, he knows movies. He's very movie literate. I told him about Ben and Matt Get Wings. He thought that was charming. I said, but I just think like, he's also like, he'll take a part that on paper is fine, make it even funnier. Just by being like fucking himself. But the whole thing has a spine to it, in as much as like we're doing Jaws.
See, I love that.
So everything has a like, oh, that's this scene. Oh, that's this scene. Oh, that's this scene. With a Canadian bent, because it takes place at a Canadian camp. But
that's fucking great.
So you get to play, you could either be Canadian or you could be the American camp counselor, but it takes place at a kid's camp. Like the moose eats children's heads and shit like that. It's really, and I feel like I've been trying to make this movie for 10 years. And after fucking Cocaine Bear did business, I was like, there's not a world where Cocaine Bear does money and Moose Jaws can't do at least half that business.
Yeah.
If we keep the budget low enough. So I'm going to take you seriously on it. I'll send you a script. I'm telling you, you would destroy it. And not only that, it's just you get to bring to it whatever the fuck you want.
That is the best. That is my favorite pitch I've ever heard. And I'll tell you why. Because
notice I didn't lead with money, because we don't have that. But it's you will have fun and you will make Jaws, but with a moose.
That is the best. Up until now, the best pitch I'd ever heard was the movie I'm doing with. And I heard the pitch first, and I was like, "This is great."
Right.
I go, "Let's get on the phone," and we do a Zoom, and I'm just watching the look on his face for when the pivot changes.
Right.
It's and as soon as the guy said it, I watched sit up, and he was like, "I'm in." He didn't have to say anything. He goes, "We're doing the hook." He's like, "Bert, we're doing this," and I was like, "Buddy, I knew you were gonna like this."
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. That's fucking brilliant. I love that. And
look, it's not,
you know
I ain't doing you a favor by any stretch of the imagination. Let's be honest. You'd be doing me a fucking favor. But you would have fun doing it.
I'd have a fucking blast.
And it's also one of these things where you have the benefit of like, just a guy in that movie. So if everyone's like, we fucking hate this movie worse than Hitler, you're like, well, like, I signed on for a much better movie, Kevin Smith, ... So if it don't work, you know what I'm saying?
Dude.
But if it does work, you get all the credit, because they're like, he's been trying to make this movie for 10 fucking years, and it wasn't until you got involved, and you're fucking great in the movie, and blah, blah, blah. Like, it seems like no downside to me, except time. I know you're a busy man, your life is scheduled, but if you feel like there's a window in there, 3 weeks, you can give me. I think we can, I hesitate to say this. I don't want to mention names, but when I was a kid, I made Clerks and it got picked up. And there was a friend of mine from grade school who came by Quick Stop, because I still kept working at Quick Stop after the movie got picked up for a year, because I wasn't sure that it would pan out. I was like, this I can trust. And so my man, I knew him in grade school, and then I didn't know him in high school, and he went to college and stuff like that. So I hadn't seen him in years. And he goes, so I hear you making movies now. I was like, yeah, we took this movie to Sundance and it sold. And I said, it'll come out like in a few months. And he goes, well, I write music. So, we should hook up because we can help each other out. And I remember in that moment thinking like, I'm on my way. Like, and I'm not looking for music. How can we help each other out? This sounds more like I'm helping you out.
Yeah.
So this is me going like, I know it'd be more you helping me out than anything else, in terms of like, this is a movie I've been trying to make for a fucking decade. And if you were the key, how beautiful would that be? The one thing I can promise is you will have such a good time. It will change the way you think about making films for the rest of your life.
Oh,
Number two, you'll walk away from it going like, I know what I'm going to do forever. I think the joy would play.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just joy of like, we're making fucking pretend. Can you believe this whole movie is fucking Jaws, but with a moose? Like, it's just one long fucking joke.
Like when I did The Machine, I was like so overwhelmed with what I had to do that I didn't pay attention to what other people were doing. And I was like, and then towards the end, I was like, I started noticing that the director would talk to the DP about lenses.
Yes.
And I was like, what are you guys doing? Like, what do you think, 450? And I was like, I didn't know they were changing actual lenses. And like what's this thing called where they go like this and they shoot like this? And I would be like, why are you doing that? Why don't you make it centered? And they're like, it's an effect.
It's a Dutch angle.
It's a Dutch angle,
tilt,
yeah. You think we should go Dutch on this? And they're like, I think we should. And I was like,
you're like, Dutch? I fucking watch that porn.
Yeah.
I like it from the Dutch perspective.
They don't do enough porns in Dutch.
Never. Like this. Like Batman fucking from Batman 1966.
It's crazy because when you see things in Dutch, you don't notice it's Dutch. As a viewer, you're like, it's just engaging.
Yeah. Until you start doing this shit.
But I would like to do a movie with you because I think now I'd like to watch what you do and go, that's fucking fascinating.
I think it would be good in as much as you'd walk away going like, oh, I got this. For the rest of my life, I'll direct movies. I'll direct myself and I'll direct everything that I want to make. You'll see how easy and fun it is and how you can still do all the things you currently do without sacrificing any of them and still captain your own ship. It's just one more stage to tell stories on.
Have you seen The Studio?
Not yet, but I'm familiar with it, of course.
I'm curious to hear your take on something like that because it does have an homage to what movie making in the 90s and early aughts was like, as opposed to, I don't know what movie, I really have always been on the outside, so I don't know what movie making looks like now, you know?
I mean, I can't tell you what movie making looks like, but I can tell you what Kevin Smith movie making looks like. It looks pretty much the same as it did back in the 90s.
For real?
Yeah, and maybe that's, I'm sure a bunch of people listening will be like, well, that's sad. You should be better. And I am better at the job. But at the same time, when am I going to change my stripes? Like, I tell Kevin Smith stories through a Kevin Smith perspective. When it comes to lenses, I still don't know mine. Bruce Willis yelled at me once about that. He was like, what do you mean you don't know your lenses? I was like, I've never really had to learn those. And he goes, you've been in this business for almost 20 years. You don't know your lenses? It's like, why am I working with you? I was like, I didn't know it was such a big deal. So it's possible.
What was that movie?
It was called, when we were making it,
Cop
A Couple
Out?
of Dicks, but it was called Cop Out with
Tracey Morgan.
Before mentioned Tracey Morgan, who recently came to my movie theater, Smodcastle Cinemas, for the 15th anniversary screening of Cop Out in February, and said one of the fucking funniest things, like, that I did not see coming and shit. Like, our theater is a nonprofit theater, but if somebody's going to make the trip, I'm always like, hey, we sold this many tickets, so like, you're due for at least half and blah, blah, blah. And, some cats are like, oh my God, keep it. Some cats are like, oh my God, that's great, thank you. So after the night was over, like Tracey, was heading out, and he had some family with him and stuff. And he was lovely. He did Q&A after the flick and told stories, and it was just in a great place. And he wasn't necessarily working like, he knows how to be funny, but he was being more earnest, just talking about the experience of leading the movie. And he sat there and watched it, and he hadn't seen it in a while and stuff. So then, we had to get him out of there at a certain point. So I ended the Q&A, and I was like, hang tight. I'm going to walk him out. I'll be right back and shit. And so I walk him out, and I was like, I can't fucking thank you enough for doing this. He goes, oh, Kev, this has been so much fun. I said, well, Trace, we sold tickets. So like, I've got $8,000 for you. And he goes, right before he steps into a Rolls Royce, he goes, keep it, Kev, I have Walmart money. Got in a fucking Rolls Royce and drove away. And I was like, that is healthy perspective for a man who faced the shuffling loose this mortal coil and lost people and stuff. But he's got his head on straight, man.
When I met him, when I face-to-face met him,
he may be the richest person we both know.
Oh, without a doubt. Well, how much do you think he got?
I don't know, but
hundreds of millions.
I think Tracey has the ability now to just do what he likes. Like, Tracey was just like, when are you making another movie? And I was like, oh, a couple months. He's like, put me in it. And I was like, all right. But he said so. He meant it because he's not like he needs the work. He just likes to work.
I'm always curious why he's not. I think first of all, I think he's creative as shit.
He's funny.
He's
fun.
Well,
he's got a new show, right? Like an NBC show.
Oh, he's got a new show on NBC. That's right. Yeah, he's got a new show on NBC.
He'll be back on TV very, very, very shortly for whatever that means at this point to anybody.
God, that's crazy.
What? Is that?
That's what they're saying.
Wow.
See what?
How adorable. I was like, we have $8,000 for you, man.
And he's like,
could you imagine if it was like, all right, I'll take 9.
I'll take 9.
What a sweetheart, though, man.
He's the greatest. The second I walked into the room and he saw me, he said, we're going to make a movie together. I feel it. And I was like, I had a horrible Tracey Morgan impression.
It's not bad. I knew what you were doing.
Can I tell you the funniest? Can I tell you here are the 2 things on my research. Have you been following that? This Candace Owen talking about Harvey Weinstein not being guilty?
You're talking about people, 2 names I don't engage with on a regular basis. One of them I know. Yeah. The other one not at all.
Everyone's having a hard time describing his genitals.
What do you mean?
It's
in the court case?
In the court case.
So there's currently a court case where he's back in. I know that much. He's back in court.
He's back in, and the woman says she raped him. He raped her. And
this is New York, not California.
I don't know.
Because he's in prison in New York, but then he was out here for another trial and shit. She was so Candace Owens is involved somehow?
No, Candace Owens had, I gotta tell you, the most fascinating thing is the rebranding of Candace Owen. Like, she was this kind of outlier that the left would attack. And now she is this, like, I would almost say, and maybe she always was and I wasn't paying attention. I don't follow Candace Owens because I don't follow politics. I don't follow any of that shit. Like, it's not on my radar. It's not the thing I go to.
Same. Just like I don't follow sports.
Yeah. I follow sports more than I do the politics.
And I know that's not an excuse. There's some people out there, well, you should follow fucking politics. Look at the world around you. Kids, I'm an entertainer. I'm a clown. I'm not a serious person.
I'm only looking for things to make jokes about.
I'm comfort food. I'm not fucking nutrition. I'm the person that you turn to when fucking life makes you feel blue. I was on the aforementioned oral sex tour with Jason Mewes back in February, and he's always like, hey man, we should fucking drive, man. If we're on the road, let's fucking drive. Don't be a bitch. Like, we'll fucking, you drive, I'll drive, we'll drive. We'll go place to place. I was like, all right. Then invariably I get in the car, start it, and he'll fall asleep like a child, and he never fucking drives. So I'm driving through rural Pennsylvania. We're heading to this gig. He wakes up out of the blue, reaches over, turns the radio down and shit, which was my Spotify. And he goes, have you noticed how scary the news is lately? And I said, who are you and what have you done with Jason fucking Mewes? Because he's going, what do you mean? I was like, since when do you ever think about the news? He's going, I got kids. And I was like, all right. I said, well, yes. And he goes, why? What's going on? And I was like, well, I mean, it's the world. It's everything. I said, but where do you want to begin? Here in the States, people are unhappy because Trump's president again. He was like, Trump's president again? I was like, oh, I was like, let me catch you up. So we talked about it for a while. And you know how unserious people will get serious about a thing when they get scared. So he's like, what do we do? That feeling everybody's had. What do we fucking do? And, it's like when a child goes, how do I not go to hell, Dad? And you're like, well, how do I not die?
Yeah.
Like, well, so I'm like, honestly, bro, there's nothing to do. Like, at the end of the day, we're not serious people. We're fucking clowns for a living and shit. And, our job is to be a distraction. And he's like, what do you mean? And I was like, we're going to do this fucking show. It was like fucking 400, 500 people in Pennsylvania tonight. We're counting on us to fucking take their head out of the game. They don't want to fucking think about this, that, the other thing or whatnot. They just want to fucking laugh. I was like, so that's the thing. We're something to distract. I was like, it's like me, whenever I doom scroll and I'm like, fuck what's going on in the world. Sometimes you have to disconnect. I was like, I watch Rocky and Bullwinkle. It makes me fucking happy again and gives me something worth fighting for. It's like, yeah, life's beautiful and shit. And also Rocky and Bullwinkle has the benefit of like being satirical. So it's like, as you watch it, you're like, oh, this shit's been going on forever. Like maybe not this exact situation, but there's always been a weird political discourse that, is under the culture and stuff. So I was like, just be a fucking distraction. That's the best. That's your job. And he's quiet for a minute. And he goes, so wait a second. For these people in Pennsylvania, were there Rocky and Bullwinkle? And I was like, well, yeah, I guess that's one way of putting it. And then for the next hour, we argued over who was who. But the whole notion of, being what I do for a living, and it's so weird. You catch heat from both sides, right? If you don't say something, I saw somebody the other day, I was like, hey, Dogma, coming to theaters June 5th. And somebody was like, great, everyone's losing their health care and you're selling a home video movie in the theaters. And it's like, it's not mandatory, you know, fucking, you don't have to go. So I get it. But I also get that, like, what do I fucking know?
Yeah.
I ain't got the answers. Like, and nor have I ever been expected to have the answers. Like, it's never been my thing. And maybe I've made some movies that are smart. Well, fucking yay. But I'm not the guy you go to for intelligence or answers. I'm the guy you go to be like, whoa, 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 whoa. Let me pull a quarter from behind your ear and shit. So when I hear, like, you know, hey man, the discourse is political, like, I just go soft because I'm not, and maybe this is a cop-out, but I did direct cop-out. I'm not smart enough. Like, I'm not like, I don't care. Obviously, I'm deeply invested in our world and our culture and where we live. But I'm 54. You think I'm going to get fucking politically astute now? Like,
it's late for me. That's what I feel. Like, I'd have to learn so much shit.
And right now, there's a bunch of people on the internet going, you guys suck because fucking take a role. But it's not like I don't vote. It's not like I don't fucking donate. It's not like I don't do the things that I'm supposed to, but my heart is not there.
And like, it's not like
just like with sports, like fucking, and I get that some people live and die by, like we talk about Barstool, built an empire. They have a giant fucking playroom because fucking sports, like, just goes over my head. And not that I'm like, oh, it's an anathema and I can't stand it. It's just like, I get it. That's their thing, but it ain't my thing. Same with politics. Feels like to me, the culture has shifted. Like, I've been lucky for the last 10, 15, almost 20 years. Culture seemed to give a fuck about comic books, and I was well-versed and ready to fucking talk about that and shit.
Yeah.
But the culture seems to have shifted, and wisely so, because horrible things seem to be going on in our world and stuff, toward the political spectrum. And I am ill-equipped for that. And maybe it's all for the best because I'm 54 and probably in the dawning years of my career and shit like that. And thank God this conversation wasn't going on 20 years ago because I'd have been out of the fucking business. But do you get the impression that people expect you to be more than you've ever been before when it comes to that subject?
I think so. I mean, I think, yeah, I almost know so. And you're
like, you did hear me, like,
you know what I do.
Yeah, like fucking, hold on one second. Here's my belly and tits. I'm that guy.
Yeah,
why do you think I've got the answer?
When did you think and I thought it would be,
and that's not to say you're not intelligent. Obviously you are, and emotionally intelligent as well. But like, you, like me, seem to understand that, like, oh, I've got a lane and I'm useful to people in this way.
Yeah.
And if I were to step out of my lane, and I've seen it happen, if I express a fucking opinion about, like, well, you know, number one, I feel like I don't have to because I'm like, I've been making movies 31 years. If you don't know which way I lean, you haven't been paying very fucking close attention and shit. But you also don't need me out there like every day going like, it's not my fucking job.
And it's not what I enjoy.
No, and I'm not good at it. And you don't want me doing it.
I like, and I've always liked this guy. And one day he just got really political. And I thought to myself, I don't want to see that side of you. Like, I like when you disappear in the characters. Now I'm not going to be able to unsee that side of you. And I was like, buddy, I wish that you didn't do that. And it was kind of crazy to me. And I've had a bunch of friends, but they've always been political. Like, Tim Dillon has always been political. Shane has underlyings of politics. When you hang out with Shane, what makes him giggle is sort of stuff. These are my closest, my good friends. Tommy, very political, like very, very political minded, doesn't talk about it on stage. If I listen to someone that hates me online because I'm not talking about politics, and then I start talking about politics to appease that one person isn't really a fan. They've never come to my shit anyway. No. The people coming to my shit, they don't give a fuck. No. They want to disappear. You know what people want to do? They want to drink with me. They want to laugh with me. They want to take their shirt off. And they just want to fucking, they want permission to party. That's the truth is, let's just get fucking lit. Let's have a good time. No one has a good time talking about politics.
Which now, and I know this is, I'm sure there are a bunch of people who are saying we're being irresponsible and stuff, but it's not like we're waving flags in any direction. It's just being honest. Like, you don't need me I'm sure some people will be like, well, that's an excuse not to get educated. It's like, no, I'm educated, but like, it's not my lane, man. Like, and fucking, I would argue, and maybe it's a self-fulfilling argument as well, but now more than ever, don't you want a motherfucker who's just like, I want to drink with that guy. I want to fucking party with that guy. I want to fucking take my shirt off with that guy. I just want to have a good time. Rather than like, well, I want to know what he's thinking about.
Yeah.
This fucking thing.
I was just at the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte, NASCAR. And I went out that night to take a walk and just get out and see people's campsites. And not one person at all asked me who I voted for, asked me what my opinions on abortion were, asked me anything. You know what they just wanted to do? Hey, man, can I show you my bus? I know you love your tour bus. I built mine. This guy walked you through a school bus he had retrofitted. And he goes, first thing I did, shitter. You know I did this. And it's like they wanted to show me what they were eating. Right. They wanted to show me what they were drinking. They wanted to give me some moonshine. They wanted to see if I wanted weed. They wanted to giggle. And I go, that's my brand. And by the way, it's what I'm good at. It's what I like. I mean, you know, I love Joe Rogan like a brother. But sometimes when he talks to me about vaccines and stuff or like efficacies or whatever, I just glaze over. I'm like, Joe, you know, he talks to me about blood pressure medicine or cholesterol medicine, and I'm on it. I'm on the thing he's talking about, right. And I have the hardest time listening. And I'm like, Joe, I'm not going to read the thing you just sent to me. Right. I love you, but I'm the guy. You know what I call him?
Like, and yet you have the nerve to call me about, is it cheating to fucking
Genghis Khan
jerk off to porn?
You know what I said to him today?
What?
I said, Joe, I need to talk to you about Genghis Khan. He goes, what's up? Hit me. I go, how many people did Genghis Khan murder? And he goes, 400 million. And I went, fuck. I go, Joe, do you realize if we had never had a Genghis Khan, there would be tons of Asians. And he was like, I never thought about that. That's where my brain is. Right. That's where my brain is. If Genghis Khan killed 40 million, he said 40 million. He killed 40 million Asian people. If those 40 million Asian people had all lived, there would be tons of fucking Asians. That was in 1100. That's 900 years of Asians, 40 million Asians just having sex. We'd have so many fucking Asians.
Were it not for Genghis Khan.
If it wasn't for Genghis Khan, who was Asian?
There was a conversation I had recently with my friend Andy McElfresh, and he was talking about, and I don't know the gentleman's name, but apparently, you know, remember Feed the World, Live Aid, and fucking everyone's dying. We got to get them fed. There was a scientist who was like, all right, I'm going to go to work on this, and worked for years and developed whatever split, you know, fucking cell wheat there is that allowed it to grow in Africa. And this literally saved millions and millions and millions of lives. Like in the 80s, as it is probably right now with getting rid of USAID, people are dying without assistance.
I hope this story goes. That's what this guy did. He was a horrible storyteller. He knew to stay in his own fucking lane. What to keep going with your story? Keep going. He knew. He never talked about politics.
For never once would he bring up.
All he knew
you know who he voted for? I don't know.
But he split grains like a motherfucker.
Saved lives, what he did. So this guy, they wrote an article about him, and the reason it caught my attention, because I was like, what? Sounds like a real like Black Mirror flip. But he's known as the man who killed the world, because in saving all those lives, like the planet can't sustain that many people. And so ultimately was something that we were all like, yay! Fundamentally down the road is like, well, fucking while we're all scrambling for resources one day, he'll be the guy to thank.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that weird? Now, I don't know if that's like true or not. I'm sure somebody.
That's why me and you shouldn't be talking about politics and stuff. It's because I just said Genghis Khan
why I laid
killed
it on
400 million people. Yes. And you said, I don't know if that's true.
This man killed the world. Yeah. People are like, wait, who is he?
Yeah, listen. And I appreciate that. I appreciate that people do talk about politics. I listened to Rogan and Aaron Rodgers the other day, and I was like, fucking, I'm so glad that they're friends. I love listening to them talk. I listen. I enjoy it. I know both those dudes. They're great fucking guys. But like, that's not my place. That's not my place. My place is to My place is, this is how stupid it is. I've been wanting to show you this video because this is who I am, okay? LeeAnn
still the
showed
porn
me,
video?
No. LeeAnn, put on your headsets.
All right.
This, as a film guy, you're going to really appreciate how dumb I am. I just wanted to share that my wife shows love by doing nice things for people.
Right.
So when we bought this house.
That's her love language.
That's her love language. When we bought this house, the first thing she did. This house.
Podcast.
No, my
your actual home.
She built this area for me as a retreat. She goes, I want you to feel like you're on vacation. And all I wanted to do was show everyone what my wife had given me, and that's how much she loves me.
Right.
But this is how stupid I am. So go ahead. I just want to tell you how much I fucking love my wife. When she built this house, she said, I want you to feel like you're on vacation when you come home. And this is the very first thing she built, this in our gym. And I came back from the road this week. I went to get in my sauna, and I saw this, and I felt like fucking Harry Potter. I was like, not fucking Harry Potter. Shit. The fucking Elmo. Not Elmo. Who's the dude from Lord of the Flies? Fedor? Fromo? Felbo? Dildo? Bilbo? No. Fedor. What's the kid's name? Frodo. I feel like fucking Frodo.
Took a minute.
I feel like fucking Frodo from Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies.
How fucking great is this? I just want to tell everyone in the world, this is how fucking awesome my wife is. I hope you have a beautiful day. This is how stupid I am. In moments of earnest, where I'm trying to say, because it looks like the Schreier.
Yeah, the Shire.
The Shire. and I go, and I've been to the Shire. I've actually been there.
Shire.
The Shire. Shire. They don't have furniture in those.
You've been to New Zealand. I've been to New Zealand.
I've seen it. I've met the dude that made George Jackson. What's his name?
Jackson.
Peter Jackson. Barefoot dude.
Yes.
Barefoot dude.
Yes.
Yeah. Really great guy. Yeah. Really great guy. I had him on the podcast. It would have, if I was a smart person,
yes,
I would have thought about what I was saying first.
Right.
And I would have just said, and I walked out and I felt like Frodo.
Yes.
I felt like Frodo. And it would have just been a perfect video.
But be honest. At what point were you like, oh, now it's a funny video?
As soon as I couldn't, when I
said Lord of the Flies.
I didn't know that.
Lord of the Flies.
Someone texted me and goes, it's Lord of the Rings. And I went, that's what I said. And then you said Lord of the Flies. And I wrote the guy back and I go, you have now pinpointed one of the 5 books I've read was Lord of the Flies.
I was going to say, it was like it shows you how literate you are, where you're like, I know Lord of the Flies. Yeah. I was forced to read that.
Shout out to Balthazar Getty. Fucking king.
Movie.
Yeah.
Shout out to Balthazar Getty. You know what, man? I honestly thought the most charming thing about you is how much you love your wife, but the fact that you just gave Balthazar Getty probably the only shout out he's gotten in 10 fucking years.
I fucking love Balthazar Getty.
I mean, has he been on the show?
Yeah, he's been on the show. I went to his birthday party.
Are you guys tight?
Yeah, we're really close.
I just thought you grabbed like a random
No.
So there's a reason Lord of the Flies is wedged in your brain.
Oh, well, hold on. So I read.
You're like, I know the guy from Lord of the Flies.
I read Lord of the Flies. I read it, had to read it in high school.
Yeah.
And I read it and I was like, cool. Then the movie came out and I was like, nice. I've read this. I've always heard people go, I read the book. I wonder what the movie's going to be like it. I always heard them say that, but I never was the kid that could do that.
You saw The Shining. You never read it.
I didn't even know it was a book. And so, I was, yeah. Oh, Stephen King wrote it. Yeah. Oh, that was it. Was it a popular book?
Very.
Okay.
Before it was a popular movie. And the thing about the book and the movie, 2 very different approaches to almost the same material, and both equally valid in their own right.
I heard he's black in the book.
No, I don't think that's.
Man,
I don't remember that being the story, but that would make it, I guess,
John is home, motherfucker.
Dramatically different.
And so I watched Lord of the Flies in the movie theater.
Yes,
and that was Balthazar Getty. He's the lead in that, and then he was still doing movies, and I was like, oh, because that was my book. That was the book I read. That was my guy. And I follow him. And then
also, anyone who was famous before you were famous remains super famous forever.
Always.
Even if you become more famous than them.
Always. And then when first time I moved out here, I met a young lady who Balthazar was doing a movie on Melrose.
Right.
And I met a girl, really hot girl. She was like, do you want to swing by the set of Balthazar Getty's new movie? And I went, that's my God. Like, I know him.
Yeah, like I fucking literally know both of those words.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. And then this is what a fucking idiot I am. I didn't know Balthazar Getty's dad was the guy who got kidnapped in that movie.
Bert, I'm going to do you one better.
What's that?
It was just as you were putting those words together as my mind was going, I wonder if that Getty is related to the other Gettys. And what you're saying is, not only is he related to the Gettys, he's the son of the guy who got his ear cut off?
Yes.
I've been in this business 31 years. I've been on this earth 54 years. Never knew either of those things.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go home, fuck the shit out of my wife after I tell her that. I was like, you ready to have your fucking mind blown? Balthazar Getty is related to the Gettys, man. And she'll be like, who's Balthazar Getty? I'll be like, come on, man. Fucking Lord of the Flies, Where the Day Takes You.
Yeah. Oh, God.
I go deep cuts.
Yeah.
What movie set do you think you were on or that you got invited to?
Pull it up, I can tell you. Pull up. It was 19, so it came out in 2002. I'm guessing it was
Feast 2.
No, what?
Jason Mewes was in Feast 1.
I don't think. No. So the year I came out there
the Project Greenlight movie?
I was out there in 99. So I'm figuring it came out in like 2000, 2001. I want to say it was Deuce's. Was it higher up? I wish you did it chronologically. Kid 90 maybe? No, that's a long time. No,
it certainly wasn't Judge Dredd. Fuck. You'd remember that.
I don't know what movie it was, but yeah, it's so funny. You know, this is what's even crazier is I got a text one.
Dude,
I got a DM.
Let me layer on top of it?
Yeah.
Not to bring it back to me, but we could put Balthazar Getty in that fucking Moose Jost movie as well. And then you would be on screen with Balthazar Getty. People got to get eaten by this fucking moose.
I don't know if I could act with a friend.
You think so?
I'll tell you.
You're like, I have to hate everyone I'm on screen
No.
with.
So I can't. I'm really bad. Like,
do you know that? Do you know what it would mean to BG?
BK and BG get back together.
BK.
I would love
BK Lounge. That's what this place is.
BK Lounge. Oh yeah. Oh, Dane would hate that. Have better sex with Blue Chew. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. And starting now, Blue Chew is offering a combo so strong it's going to knock your socks off and possibly your neighbor's socks off too. You're going to have to move towns with the amount of noise you're going to be making. Blue Chew Max has arrived, and it combines the active ingredients of Viagra and Cialis into one chewable. This combo acts fast and it lasts. Guys, be ready when she's ready. And get your first month of Blue Chew for free. Great sex is literally a few clicks away. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped directly to your door. And the best part, it's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Just literally talk to one of their licensed, and that's the most important part, is they have great providers that you talk to that say if this is right for you or wrong for you, and that is important. Do not take one of these from your boys at a bar because you heard this. You go to BlueChew.com, you talk with them. Their medical providers are going to set you up, and then it's delivered to your door, and you know it's safe for you, it's right for you, and I'm telling you, you're going to knock her socks off. Make life easier by getting harder. And discover your options at BlueChew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try your first month of Blue Chew for free when you use our promo code Bertcast. Just pay $5 in shipping. That's promo code Bertcast. Visit BlueChew.com for more important details and important safety information. And I would like to thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this podcast. This is an ad by BetterHelp. Men today face immense pressure to perform, to provide, to keep it all together. So it's no wonder that 6 million men in the U.S. suffer from depression every year, and it is often undiagnosed. If you are a man and you're feeling the weight of the world, just talk to someone, anyone, a friend, a loved one, a therapist. I find since the earliest that I started like legit dealing with friends, and Joey Diaz was the first person that said, "Dog, we get coffee every day. This is what they used to do back in the day before therapy." And Joey and I got coffee every day for 21 days in a row, and my problems went away. And then when they showed back up and Joey was on the road, I got into therapy. And it's the same thing. Talking stuff out makes you feel better. Knowing that you're going to talk stuff out makes you feel better. Knowing that you have a plan to make you feel better makes you feel better. With over 35,000 therapists, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, having served over 5 million people globally, and it works. With an App Store rating of 4.9 out of 5 based on over 1.7 million client reviews, it works. It's convenient too. You can join a session with a therapist at the click of a button, helping you fit therapy into your busy life whenever it's convenient for you. Plus, you can switch therapists at any time. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Talk it out with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Bert. That's better, HELP.com/Bert.
Can I share a story with you?
Please.
It's not a bit, but it just happened in real life. And I saw it when I was leaving the house. And I was like, I got to remember to talk about this. So my old man died like 22 years ago. 2005. 24 years ago. It's coming up on like 25 years he's been dead. So, my mom's still alive. She lives
Did he
down
see
in Florida.
Y2K?
He did. He made it to, he saw Jersey Girl, but not theatrically released. He saw a cut of it in the editing room. So he made it to 2003, June 2003. So I was down visiting mom recently. She lives in Florida. She's 79. She can be 80. And my sister was there and my brother was there because it was Mother's Day and I was doing gigs. That's when I was doing my call to show and shit. And so then I had like 2 days to hang out with mom, the whole family. She had all 3 of her kids there. So my father, comes up invariably as he does and whatnot. And my mom is talking about like his wallet. And I'm like, I definitely have an image in my head of dad's wallet because I remember it all throughout childhood. And this fat leather thing that had no money in it and shit. But I'd look through it all the time. And she's like, yeah, well, he eventually got a different wallet, which I was like, that stands to reason. And so mom brought out my dad's last wallet, which had the same shit in it he had throughout my childhood. But then there was this thing I found folded in the wallet, which I was like, Mom, what's this? And she goes, oh, that's the thing he's always had in his wallet. And so I open up this very folded, old ass from the fucking 50s piece of paper. And on it are lyrics of a song. And the song is At Mail Call Today. And instantly, don't fucking Google it. Don't Google it. Don't Google it. Let me tell my story.
Don't Google it.
Fucker, God damn it.
Don't Google it.
Yes. For a minute, for an hour, I was like, my father wrote a fucking song. My father wrote a song and died without ever expressing himself. I'm going to get Willie Nelson to record this fucking song if I have to fucking choke him to do it myself in front of a mic. It made sense because my father worked at the post office. So the idea of that mail call today,
oh my God,
I was like, my breath was taken away. I was like, I'm going to finish the work he never dreamed possible. But he lived his life so I could live mine. And I'm the dream catcher. I know how to do this.
Yes.
And then I did exactly what y'all did, which is like, before I go further, let me just see.
Is it a real song?
It's a real fucking song.
Oh my God.
That was sung by Gene Autry. It's called At Mail Call Today. And it's real cornpone. It's like, At Mail Call Today. My father was into country and Western music. God knoweth why. We didn't even live in South Jersey, so there's no real connection to fucking Southern music. But it was in his wallet his whole life. Once I Googled it, I was like, all right, well, he didn't write it. Fuck, that sucks. But I was
he
like,
liked it.
Mom, why did he have this? And my mother goes, I don't know. It was always in his wallet even before I met him. And I was like, I know, but you guys spent 20 plus years together. You never asked him, like, was it connected to some girl he knew? And she goes, well, no, he didn't. I was the first girl he really dated. So I was like, you didn't fucking think like to matlock this shit and find out why dad would keep these particular fucking lyrics? It's not like he was the world's biggest Gene Autry fan. And I was like, did it have to do with like him being working at the post office? And she goes, no, well, he didn't get a job at the post office until late 60s, early 70s. Then I was like, what the fuck is it? I'll never know. Never.
Gotta get an old person to solve that mystery.
I don't even think Matlock could figure that shit out. I'll be honest with you. Matlock's pretty good.
Wait, that's almost like that's like almost.
Now you could definitely. They looked it up. I was like, don't jump, and I should have known. I forgot where I was. That you can't say a thing without
it's so funny as you were
lightning fast.
Well, no, I thought you had recorded it already, and they were pulling it up, and I was like, oh, I want to hear this.
No. It was just I was like, they're probably doing the thing that I did eventually. Because at first, I went on a romantic journey of like, my father, the least creative man in the world, wrote a goddamn song. This is a TV movie in and of itself, and I'm going to get this song recorded, and it's going to be with his favorite artist. And then a quick Google search of like, let me just see. Does this song exist? It does exist, but we'll never know why. Because this was at a time he didn't copy these lyrics down.
It enough.
And had to listen to it and write it down. This wasn't like, he pulled it off the internet. Like, this is in the 50s. He wrote this shit down. He must have listened to it so many times. Maybe he just kept it because he's like, I had to listen to this song 60 times one day to write these lyrics down. I'm never throwing this shit out.
It's almost like, you could have, imagine if you did release it and you recorded it and people were like, this is amazing. And there's enough of a generational gap.
It was like,
there's a generational gap where it could have gone.
Existed.
God.
They're like, you didn't think to Google it? I was like, no. Yeah. It never occurred to me. I thought I don't know why wrote it.
I don't know why there's not a Spanish guy in Mexico City doing my act in Spanish.
That's a good point.
I'm always like, you're not breaking into my money. Like I should
franchise
a multilingual
do what
machine.
Krusty the Clown did.
We go La Máquina and do them in different languages.
Yes.
How do you say machine in German? I bet my act would kill in Germany. Oh, wait, I do Germany. What am I talking about?
You could do
they speak English.
La Machine in France, which was a product when I was a kid. It was a food dicer, La Machine.
Machine. They just say it like machine.
That's true, man. You're missing a whole market. You could be selling off the machine to be done regionally.
Let's try this
franchise.
For real. Tell me if there's a Spanish-speaking person that's listening to this right now. You're probably a comedian, and this is all I want you to do. I'm going to franchise you out, okay? I want you to record you telling the machine story in Spanish to a crowd, and then send it to me. And then I'm going to send you a bunch of my bits. Right. I got 6 hours. I got 6 specials out there, and we'll franchise it. All I want.
How much? What kind of taste? What's your percentage?
No, I'm doing none of the work.
Yeah. But you have done the work.
I have done the work.
It's your IP.
It would be cool to pick up a little check.
Wet your beak a little.
Yeah, wet my beak.
How much? For your life's work to be done in Spanish by somebody else. Is he giving you credit?
No.
It's not Alberto or something like that?
Hang on, can I?
Trademark
we can, hold on. You need to be a little overweight. You got to take your shirt off.
Those not bad. I mean, honestly, I would argue that you really don't even need the overweight thing as much as shirt
has
doffing your top is
taking your top off.
Absolutely essential. And that's more so than hearing him do the machine bit in Spanish. What you want to see is what he brings to the table with the shirt coming off.
Yeah, and you want to see
what flavor is it, like a flamenco flavor if it's from Spain. Is there a Russian doll affair if you're from fucking, Russia?
There's gotta
be a shirt and then another shirt and then another shirt and then another shirt before you're finally.
My act wouldn't work in Russia. Do you remember when they tried to bring Everybody Loves Raymond to Russia?
Yeah. Well, not they. What's his fuck did?
Phil Rosenthal.
Yeah, Phil himself.
And they were like, we don't understand. Why doesn't he just hit her? Who lets wife talk to them like this? You hit her and you put her in a place.
Phil Rosenthal was like, I should probably do travel cooking shows and stuff.
Yeah. His travel cooking show is actually pretty fucking good.
He got fucking rich, man.
He's been rich, right?
Yeah. I meant off of Raymond.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't mean off the travel cooking show.
Yeah, I don't think he's making much on
rather
those.
well, though.
But
nice for him that he built a brand of his own after the fact. Kind of like Larry David. Like dudes who were used to being in the shadows for their whole career, started on stage, then moved into the shadows to be the producer of, writer of a thing, but then had this late in life kind of like, oh, I'm going to step forward again, and became like the main act. You went quiet on Larry David. Is that
no? I really enjoy Larry David. I enjoy everything about him. And I wonder. No, I know nothing. I wonder.
You're like, but he's no Balthazar.
Imagine if he never. No, I heard he's jacked as fuck.
Who?
Larry David.
Now he
is the most muscular man. When you touch him, it's rock hard.
So he's like, are you sure you're not thinking of J.K. Simmons?
No, J.K. Simmons is too.
Yeah, he's fucking. You're talking seriously?
Yeah, he's actually pretty physically fit.
What did you Google? Oh, Larry David. I thought it was like Larry David shirt off.
Look
Larry
at him
David
running.
muscles.
Oh, that's David Goggins.
But
I always wonder, like, how much was Jerry Seinfeld? How much was Larry David?
I would say Larry David knew how to play Jerry Seinfeld.
It's the Sir Edmund Hillary versus Tenzing Norgay.
Look at you.
Yeah, they said, who got there first? You know it was Tenzing. He dragged this fucking white guy up there.
You might need to now no longer be like, I can't talk politics, because that's like one of the smartest things I've ever heard anybody say. And if you can bust that, then you must be able to solve the Palestinian crisis.
It is.
Do that now.
It is. My sweet spot is history. I just like history. I like reading.
Are you a history
I like
buff?
listening to history podcasts.
My wife is that way. I'm not a history buff.
I'm obsessed.
Not like I'm like I hate history, but I'm like I get it. It happened. But
I'm
like
obsessed
I'm not
with
in
Fidel
it, so I don't
Castro
really
right
care.
now.
Serious?
Yeah.
Why?
Because growing up in Florida, we had one perspective of Fidel Castro and Raul, his brother, and it was everyone was very anti-Cuba, and anti-Cuba, anti-Fidel. And then recently, I was talking to a Cuban guy, and I said, now that they've lifted the ban, are you ever thinking about going back, maybe investing? And I didn't realize how much every Cuban guy I know does not. They're ethnically Cuban, but they are American as fuck. And they're like, that isn't my home. I live here. I live in Miami. And I didn't know a lot about him. I didn't know
in Miami.
I grew up in Tampa, but which is like Florida light.
Fucking Mike Calta country, right?
Yeah, he's one of my best friends.
He mentioned last time I was there. He was just like,
yeah, he's one of my best friends.
Yeah. He talked about the cruise.
They said, you know what's fascinating?
Speaking of which, cruise. Jay and Silent Bob.
You're doing a 6-man cruise?
We're doing another one. We did it last year. It was wonderful. Jay and Silent Bob's Cruise Askew. And we're doing it again in 2026, and it's on sale right now. Jay and Silent Bob's Cruise Askew. But
February 18th to the 22nd?
Not 1 year going.
No, is that
maybe we
2026? You're February 18th.
Oh, you know the dates.
Yeah, I know the dates.
I was like, oh my God. I was like, maybe
Costa Maya is beautiful in Mexico.
Let's tickle their balls for a minute. These 6-man people got this shit down to a science. And never mind all that, but like as the headliner, that fucking room with the piano in it.
Yeah.
Like, could you ever go on a cruise for the rest of your life unless somebody was like, here's the giant room at the front of the boat?
Oh, that room. Can I tell you what's crazy?
Yeah.
I had 2 of those rooms.
Yeah.
And I gave one to Mike Calta.
He told me, believe me, you're the second person in a month that told me that story. He was just like, fucking Bert took me on the cruise and gave me one of those fucking rooms. And he too was like, I'll never go on a cruise again unless I'm in that giant room.
So nice.
And he said it was like him and his kid. And they're like, you have 8 rooms in here. And he's like, well, it's just me and him.
It was that cruise was amazing. It was one of my favorite things I've ever done.
Wasn't it great? Because you could just sit there and fucking like every night do what you love doing.
Oh, at the end of the night, every night, we ended up on the very, very back of the boat, just all comics, just talking shit.
Serious?
It was so great. And then, I did the Impractical Jokers cruise a long time ago, and I was at
my boy Quinn.
And I went up to my agent and my manager, and I said, "This is what I want to do."
Right.
And they were like, "Okay." I was like, "Put that ball in motion. I want to do this."
Nice. Off of fucking Quinn's thing.
And I was like, "It'll never happen for me," and then it did. And
how many times have you done it?
I've done it once.
So you're gonna do it again. It'll become a perennial.
We have a weird thing that we're either gonna do something very adjacent,
right,
or that, and we're trying to figure out which one. The cruise for me is kind of where I want to be, but this other thing's just kind of a wild opportunity.
We did last year, aside from the cruise, which we did in 2024. We also did Chronicon, which was in Jay and Silent Bob reboot. We had a fake comic book convention, or a fake Jay and Silent Bob convention called Chronicon, off of Blunt Man and Chronic. And so we did Chronicon in real life, which was essentially just a Jay and Silent Bob convention in Chicago. Not in Chicago proper, but in Rosemont, where they have conventions like right outside of O'Hare and stuff. And suddenly we had a second thing where it's like, oh my God, we could do this every year as well. And then there was a question of like, do we alternate years? Do Chronicon 1 year and then Cruise Askew another year and stuff? But even though we did have to wait a year for Cruise Askew, because they were like, you don't go the very next year. You got to let people save up, and then they come the next year. And they turned out to be right. Like, it's crazy. I was never a cruise person, but like the people who went on the cruise fucking had a blast.
Well, our Facebook group for the cruise is wild.
Like
they keep in touch,
and they stay in touch. Yes, they become like families and stuff.
They have babies.
They've met and fallen. Fuck, That's dope. Isn't that awesome to know that, like, because of you, someone got laid and not only got laid, but has a family to show for it?
I should pay for their college.
Yeah, you owe them.
I could set up a fund pretty easily.
At least lend them the bus.
What is it? I don't know how money works, but like if you put like $1,000 in like a fund for a baby, it probably grows to like $30,000 by the time they're 18, right?
In the old days it did, but since there's no more Department of Education, I think it just goes into the ether.
So I'd have to pay the whole thing on college.
Well, I don't think college isn't going to exist when that kid grows up.
Do you want to know how out of touch I am? I have 2 children in college, and I don't know how much college costs.
Serious?
I have no idea.
The rumor I've heard is $80,000.
No.
That's what I've heard. For like an NYU or USC.
Hold on.
Let's Google that shit on a big screen.
Holy fucking shit. Are you serious?
I think so. I think when I was a kid,
Are you shitting me?
When I was a kid in the 90s, it was $40,000 to go to NYU.
It was $150.
Hello?
Hey, I'm here with Kevin Smith.
A 4-year
about
graduate degree at
college.
NYU could cost anywhere from $351 to $380. So what does that?
How much does college cost?
Well, it depends on the college.
Okay, we're gonna bleep the numbers. So, but how much does college cost for Isla?
For Isla, I don't think you want to know.
You better get to work, son. You can't do moose jaws anymore because that movie don't pay.
I don't think you want to know what that is. I don't think you'd be super happy.
Is Georgia better?
Yeah, Georgia better.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want to know what Georgia's is a year?
Yeah.
And that's the better one.
A year?
A year, yeah.
That's the better one.
And
that's not including her rent.
Oof, forgot about that.
Okay,
which is $900 a month.
What's Isla's?
I don't know. I don't want to tell you.
Please tell me what Isla's
We're
is.
selling the bus.
I don't want to tell you.
Give me a ballpark. What does it rhyme with?
Wow.
$1,000 a year?
Yeah. We love our kids a lot.
It's fucking art school.
Keep taking that shirt off.
Okay. All right. I love you. I'm paying $100,000.
Hey, how are you? And just for the record, as I'm sure you've probably stopped listening to the show, he says such lovely things about you all throughout. And it's very clear that this man is dedicated to fucking you.
Yeah.
Aww,
very
the
sweet.
reverse is also true.
That's why I have to suspect. I saw the Lord of the Flies, quote unquote, village that you built.
She never saw it. She never saw the video.
The video?
Yeah.
I saw the little sauna that you built.
I said my little recovery.
Oh, I did see that video. I did see the Fodor, and you kept screwing up Fodor, Farty.
She did say, oh my God, she's a fan. My wife never watches any of my clips.
Yeah.
All right, I love you. I love you.
Love you too.
He's going to be at Moose Jaws.
100.
Don't cut this part out of the show. Like, you know that part we cut out about the numbers?
$100,000.
Yeah. That's why you got to do Moose Jaws. A Moose Jaws pays for like a quarter of that.
Can I ask you, is this a weird question? That's everyone, right?
Yeah,
not just me because
that ain't just rich people. That's if you want to go to a school. How
the fuck does anyone afford to send their kid to college?
What is the school?
No.
It's an art school.
Yeah.
All right, but like NYU, as we saw on the screen, was. So do the math.
It's got to be. Well, I can do the math. It's going to be 70. It's going to be. It's 85.
You're so far. Look at that shit.
Yeah.
You're fucking. You got good math.
I got ballpark math.
That's good enough.
Yeah.
Especially now. Today's America. Ballpark math good enough. Look at that shit. 80, almost 90 grand, dude. For something that, like, unless you're a doctor, a degree doesn't guarantee you anything anymore. I watch a lot of videos online on fucking YouTube where kids are like, I'm a dog walker, even though I'm a trained biochemist.
Yeah.
Like, they can't fucking get jobs. I'm not discouraging people, but it's like.
This is why people shouldn't go to college. By the way, this is why maybe I should be learning more stuff because now I have opinions.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Turns out we're more political than we imagined.
Yeah. Type in who the president is. Let's
get him on the line.
When I went to Florida State, it was $50 an hour. So it was $150 for a class.
Right.
And you took 4 classes. So it was going to be roughly like $600, 700. It came out to like $700 to go to college.
Look, I hate to be this guy, but why can't your kids do that? I don't even think they offer that in the state of California.
My daughter, in the academic year of 1996, 1997, the average tuition for in-state was $6,000 a year at Florida State. I wonder if that includes books.
Which one is FSU? Is Seminoles or Gators?
Seminoles. Oh shit! I got to shoot a video for them today. Fuck. All right, let's wrap this up. We've been talking for 2 hours.
Let's kill 2 birds with one stone. Keep talking about the Seminoles.
Yeah,
that'll be the video.
Yeah.
Oh fuck!
I'm trying to get the Savannah Bananas to play at Doak Campbell.
You got it. All those words meant nothing to me.
It's so funny.
I was like, I think Bert's having a stroke. Now he's just saying random things. What is Anna Banana? Savannah Bananas?
Savannah Bananas. Wait, can I tell you the funniest thing I've done in a long time?
Yeah.
This kid, we were at NASCAR and we're up by the suites, and this kid comes out of the suite with his mom and his dad, and his mom is very attractive. She's a little older than me,
right,
but the kid is probably like 15, 16. And he sees me, he's like, holy shit, the machine. And I'm like, what's up, buddy? And he was like, buddy, is it crazy if I ask for a picture? I go, absolutely not. Please, let's get a picture. And he's like, can you take your shirt off? And I was like, I'm not going to take my shirt off. He goes, okay. And he goes, Mom, get a picture. His mom, like, looks at me and she's like, who is he? And I go, I'm a male porn star. And she went, what? And I said, yeah, you should get to know your son. He's really into porn. And I go, I'm one of the biggest.
You should get to know your son.
Kid in the fucking perfect delivery I've ever heard, he goes, real fucking cool, dude. He was never going to be able to convince his mom.
There's your video.
He's a comedian. He's never going to. His mom will forever simply believe, because he said, can you take your shirt off? It was so funny. And I could not stop laughing at myself. Can I tell you the other funniest thing I said this weekend? I was like, I got back into being funny again because I've been out of it for a while.
Right.
And this woman comes up. They're at this tailgate. I hope she's listening to this. She's with a big group, like 15 people. And they're celebrating because it's the anniversary of when her husband died. Oh. He died like a year ago.
So wait, she's happy, or it's just like we're meeting to be like,
they made koozies in honor of him.
Right.
And they see I'm next to him, and she comes, her friend comes up, her guy comes up and goes, listen, we're here for our friend. You know, she lost her husband like a year ago. He was a huge fan of yours. Do you mind just coming over and saying hi? And I go, no, of course. So I go over, and she like kind of like melts, and we have a moment. Like, I actually talked to her about losing her husband and how he passed, and
it hit you.
And we talked, and we had a genuine, authentic moment privately, not in front of everyone,
right,
but me and her. And she said, you know, he was like a huge fan of yours. And I was like, it means a lot. She goes, he would be blown away to know that you're drinking out of that. Like, and that's really fucking cool. And I went, hey, thank you. We give a hug. I go back to doing my thing. And then they pull me over to do this thing with this NASCAR guy. And I take my shirt off. And everyone's like, whoa. And she goes, I wish I could take my shirt off. I go, hey, your husband's not here. And none of her friends knew that I knew. And they just went, what the fuck?
Oh, shit.
And then she goes, he's a comedian. He was joking. He knows my husband's dead.
For some reason, I thought the story was going, she's like, my husband would love that you were drinking out of that, and it was his urn. I'm like, Bert, you've got a problem.
The other last funny thing I'm going to say that happened to me, I was woken up in a hotel room in Tampa at 11 o'clock. It's called The Edition. It's a great hotel. To a security guard, Puerto Rican security guard, yelling at me at the top of his lungs, sir, are you alive? Sir, are you alive? And I'm like, wait, what the fuck? He goes, sir, you've been found unresponsive. Right now, are you okay? This is a wellness check. And I was like, I go, bro, I'm just sleeping. Like, and he was like, the maid came in, you were unresponsive. You were found unresponsive. I'm here. Are you okay? And I was like, dude, I was fucking sleeping. And I couldn't explain to him everything. Like, I just came in from Hawaii. This is Tampa. The time zone change is 6 fucking hours. Give me a fucking break. I've been working every goddamn day, and I have a flight at 7, and I booked this hotel long so I could sleep like that. I said to him, clearly I'm sober. I'm not on drugs. I was just sleeping. And he walks out, and I'm sitting with it. I'm like, motherfucker. You know what? I'm not happy with how I was represented. I was like, I'm going to go and complain at the front desk. I don't want anyone fired, but I'm going to say, you guys knew I had a late flight. You knew I extended my checkout till when the car was picking me up.
It got your dander up to the point where, like, I got to blow off.
I just got to blow off. And I went down, and I was pretty measured. And I said, can I talk to the manager? And he comes in and says, what's up? And I said, listen, I don't want anyone to get fired. I feel like I just got to say something or it's going to be stuck on me all day.
Right.
I said, I was woken up by and as I'm saying this, when the bellman comes up and he's like, what's up, Bert? Like, kind of gives me, like, puts his arm around me. He's like, good to see you, brother. I was like, thanks. I go, I was woken up and then another bellman comes up and he's like, Bert, welcome home, Bertie boy. And I was like, yeah, thanks. Thank you very much. Another person walks behind me as I can't get my fucking sentence out. And I go, I was woken up. And the guy's like, Bert, taps me on the back. I go, thank you. I go, I was woken up by a security guard at 11 o'clock. He was young. And the guy leans in. He goes, Bert, we thought you were fucking dead. He goes, you grew up in Tampa and you die in our fucking hotel. Do you realize how bad a look that is for us? He goes, the whole hotel thought you were dead. And as he says that, another security guard comes walking by. He's like, Bert, it's so good to see you today. And I was like, oh, everyone thought I was dead. They all sent a group text, Bert Kreischer is fucking dead. Someone's got to go check. Everyone's like, I don't want to be the fucking guy that finds Bert Kreischer's body.
The machine has shut down on our watch.
I went over to the coffee shop and they're like, Bert, it's so good to see you. And I was like, and I called my mom. This is the line. I called my mom and I told her the story. And she goes, honey, not everyone gets to know what it feels like to be Jesus on Easter. I don't know why I give my mom a Southern accent. But yeah,
Florida. But still, I get it, man. You got to go to your own funeral for a minute.
It was
and see that there were
twice
flowers.
to me. It's happened twice to me. TMZ said a heart attack, and man,
and you saw
just so you know, the day you die, that hour after you pass away, when it becomes your phone's gonna blow up.
Yeah, everyone.
I got so many fucking phone calls.
Did you have a heart attack?
No, I didn't have a heart attack.
I did. I had a massive heart attack, I got.
Oh, that's right.
I was very popular for the next 24 hours.
Did Ben Affleck text?
Ben Affleck texted. He texted so hard that he was like, Kev, it's Ben Affleck. He wouldn't even take a fucking affectionate Affleck.
Okay.
He wanted proper pronunciation.
Can I soft pitch you an idea?
Casey, on the other hand, was okay with saying Affleck.
Casey.
Yes, soft pitch.
Soft pitch. You're not going to love this.
Fair enough. Ben in Moose Jaws, because we can make that happen as well.
I know how we're going to make that happen. I'm going to leak that you had another heart attack.
Yeah.
Love Kevin. Thoughts and prayers to his family. Go see your cardiologist, right? That's all I'm going to post.
And can you add after that, and Dogma on June 5th in theaters everywhere?
And Ben's going to text and be like, Kev, just checking in, brother.
Yeah.
I love you. I miss you. And then you text, hey, so great to hear from you. We got this new project. And he'll be like, I thought you had a heart attack. Go, I have no idea what you're talking about. But now that I've got you on the line, let's me and you, Kev, get,
I'll do you one better. I'll be like, you're a closet Kreischer fan, aren't you?
He goes, you mean Kreischer?
I fished you out. I fucking flushed it down the right pipe to see which way it came out. We just found out.
He's like, Bert Kreischer? Is that who you're talking about?
No, he calls you Kreischer. The way you call him Affleck, he calls you Kreischer. Bert Kreischer?
J of Silent Bob, Cruise Askew with Six Man, February 18th to the 22nd, 2016. Dogma,
2026.
No, it's
2016, the boat sank and we were both on a door and I was like, no, you stay alive. No, 2026.
That's such a great fucking promo. Hold on, that's such a great promo.
J-Stop Bob Cruise Askew 2016.
That's such a great promo. That is such a great promo. Have you already shot that and used that?
Take it. I'll take it from you. Can we use it? Here's me asking permission.
That's fucking brilliant. That's a brilliant promo. If I could do it.
June 5th, more importantly, Dogma in theaters everywhere.
June 5th, Dogma.
They could see that literally.
My favorite.
For $10.
Ben
and Matt get wings.
Just came up in my feed. Billy O'Houlihan or whoever ran the Catholic League.
Bill O'Donohue.
Bill O'Donohue. This just came up in my feed today. Random. He said, He was protesting the movie. Blasphemous. How dare they? And then he reached out to you and he said, can I get a screener so I can speak from a place of knowledge about this movie? And you said, so where have you been speaking from lately? He had never seen the movie and he was criticizing it.
No, he didn't. It's so weird because I've been thinking about him a lot lately by virtue of the fact that I'm out on tour. And last time, death threats, fucking 400,000 pieces of hate mail, 3 legitimate death threats. This time, none of that. To be fair, I was in Dallas going to do a show. Most of my tour was in AMC theaters at malls and shit. So I was about to pull into the mall parking lot and I was at the red light and I looked to my right and on the median was a kid, 18, 19, holding a poster that had the Dogma poster in it, the current Dogma poster, and said AMC blasphemes or something. So he was a protester by himself. And I was like, this is so sweet. So you see somebody with a sign, you lay on the horn and shit. So to support him, I fucking laid on the horn and be like, and he lit up like Christmas. He was so excited to have support. And he looked around, he fucking looked at me, and then he makes direct eye contact, and he goes, and he shuns me. He fucking turns away from me and shit like that. That's the closest we got to a protest.
I hope they protested Conclave.
They didn't, because at the end of the day, that was educational. You got to learn how they were going to elect the Pope before that even happened.
Man, how fucking lucky was that director?
Timing was incredible.
Do you think he held on to it and he was like calling up the Conclave going, how's he feeling?
How's he feeling today? We went out on tour like with Dogma. April 20th was the first show. And then that was Easter Sunday, 4/20. 4/21, Easter Monday, the Pope dies. And so at the Q&A that night in San Diego for the show, people were like, did you kill him? Is it Dogma? And I was like, no, I heard it was J.D. Vance, man. I ain't taking that fucking bullet.
Everyone go out in theaters, see Matt and Ben Get Wings.
Excellent title.
Should have 25th anniversary of Dogma in theater, June 5th. In 4K, remastered.
Yeah.
With exclusive content, by the way.
Yeah, you're going to see a Q&A afterwards.
And then the cruise, February 18th.
You could join now, but that ain't till 2026. Jay and Silent Bob's cruiseaskew.com.
That would be a great promo. Just LeeAnn on the table, or me on the table and LeeAnn sinking to the bottom of the ocean. I go, LeeAnn, I know there's not enough room for both of us, but I make the money. And we owe $100,000.
You told me how much college
year
costs.
in college costs. Georgia's almost done. That nut's gone.
So you'll be free.
Yeah.
That's when you're like, now, are you out of college? The last kid's like, yeah. You're like, I'm done taking my shirt off.
Jesus.
Now I'm wearing 9 shirts.
I got to wear a shirt tonight on stage. I got to do a panel.
When you say I got to wear a shirt tonight on stage, that is adorable because it's like, that's novel where I have to wear a shirt on stage.
I hate it.
Do you really every time you perform, do you feel you're doing it better?
This is my sister. Hold on 1 second. Hang on. She's coming with me. Hey, are you meeting me at my house? Or are you meeting me at the store?
I'm meeting you at your house.
Okay. All right. I'm heading over there now.
Well, wait. The car's not coming until 6.
Yeah. Car's coming at 6.
Okay.
Are you doing the red?
I'll drive your car over.
Why?
Because I still have your Mercedes.
Oh, okay. Okay, perfect. All right.
Okay. What were you going to ask me?
I don't know. Oh, are we going to do the red carpet together?
I'm not. I can't do that.
Why? Pretend you're my new wife.
No way. Good luck. I'll walk you.
Okay, bye. I could totally not end this podcast, but I have to go to fucking work.
Go do.
I fucking love talking to you, man. You're one of my favorite.
Good times.
I think Moose Jaws is going to be fucking awesome.
We're going to make money and we're going to make people happy. Not necessarily in that order.
Making people disappear for 90 minutes it's a gift.
And they'll be talking about this movie for years to come. Like, oh, fucking remember Moose Jaws? Because it's like Jaws, but with a moose instead of a shark. That captures people's imagination.
Dude.
Heavy lifting's been done for us. We just get to show up, have a good time.
I fucking love that. And then I see their sequel. We just go through every animal.
Yes.
We're like, holy shit.
Well, they made fucking 4 Jawses. We could at least get 4 Moose Jawses.
We can do mooses. Meese.
Meese Jaws.
Meese Jaws. That's the next one.
Meese Jaws is, they're like,
Meese
wow.
Jaws.
I mean, honestly, funny title. Who ain't going to see that?
Yeah.
You're laughing before the movie begins.
We could do a series called Duck Duck Moose.
Murder mystery. First, it has to be a podcast series.
The end, we find out it was never a moose. It was just a dude dressed as a moose.
We do it on Wondery, and then it becomes a Netflix series. This has been a blast. Go do your things you got to do.
All right, I love you, buddy.
Thank you. Love you too.
This episode was brought to you by The Machine.